are encouraged to pay tribute on social media by tagging at Dolly Parton.
Fox's Michelle Polino. Of her many honors and achievements, Parton said what meant perhaps the most was her Imagination Library, which has given more than 200 million books to children, founded in honor of her father, who could not read. President Trump lowering flags for 1 week in her honor and posting, "There will never be anyone like her." Canada rolls out retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods after trade talks broke down and higher U.S. tariffs kicked in on some Canadian imports.
We're under unprovoked attack by President Trump.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford telling Fox Business,
I always say, Canadians, myself, we love the American people, we love the U.S., and it's unfortunate that President Trump has taken this avenue.
The president accuses Canada of treating some U.S. products unfairly for years. The Big Ten becomes the first conference to ban pro football players from returning to play at its schools as legal fights continue after the NCAA expanded eligibility to 5 seasons instead of 4 over a 5-year period. America is listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The future of cornhole is here. From casual backyard games to professional ACL tournaments, the Cornhole app is your all-in-one hub for the game you love. Keep score, track stats, follow your favorite players, and manage leagues and tournaments with powerful event tools. Whether you're a brand new player or an ACL pro, the Cornhole app connects you to the entire cornhole community. Download the Cornhole app today.
The Trump administration says the Kennedy Center may need to be taken down if the president's name isn't allowed on the building.
The Kennedy Center's board argues without prominent recognition of President Trump, donors will not contribute to the Performing Arts Center, and it will fall into a financial and structural death spiral. The argument was made in a court filing as part of a case that forced the removal of President Trump's name from the building's facade. The Trump administration warns without adequate funding, the Kennedy Center could deteriorate further, requiring the entire structure be taken down and replaced with an outdoor amphitheater. The Washington Post reports both ticket sales and fundraising drastically fell following the board's decision to add President Trump's name to the structure. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Voters are settling candidates for the November ballot in 3 states today, including Georgia, Oklahoma, and South Carolina, where new Senator Darlene Graham is facing Congressman Ralph Norman to replace her late brother as the GOP Senate nominee. The Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate in Michigan is pushing back against attacks he says are focused on his Muslim identity instead of his policy agenda.
Since his Democrat Senate primary win in Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed says he's come under attack by opponents who he says have increasingly emphasized his Muslim religion.
There's a verse in the Quran that says, "Do not let another people's hatred for you stop you from doing justice."
El-Sayed also distancing himself from anti-Semitic comments made by far-left streamer Hassan Piker, who's appeared with El-Sayed, as he also works to unite progressive and establishment Democrats in November's contest against Republican Mike Rogers, a race that could help decide control of the U.S. Senate.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Stocks finish higher, the Dow up 160 points, a rebound for the S&P up 24, and for the NASDAQ up 171. U.S. oil prices dipping under $82 a barrel during the session. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Ultimate Structures, offering customized sheds, cabins, and metal buildings. Ultimate Structures is ready to design what you desire. Call today, 724-415-0020.
And good evening, your local station, WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk. It is 5:05 on a Tuesday, and right now outside of our Davis & Davis studios looking at 77 degrees. We'll get to the weather watch and sports in just a bit. Southwest Pennsylvania Water Authority will have the water shut off Tuesday, the 1st of September. That's a week from today in the New Salem area from North Mill Street and Mary to Main Street, and a small section of South Mill Street from the Presbyterian Church to West Main, from West Main at Mario Lane to Salem Avenue, and all of Antrim Street between 8 a.m. and 4 in the afternoon next Tuesday. To upgrade the system, customers may experience low pressure or no water. They're advised to keep some containers of water handy to minimize that outage. In Fayette County, the Brownsville Youth Soccer Association is dealing with a setback after 3 soccer fields at Patsy Hillman Park in Luzerne Township were vandalized by multiple ATVs. The association president discovered the tire damage this weekend. Members in the community helped identify at least one suspect by sharing photos and videos of 3 riders on that property, and numerous volunteers have stepped up to help repair the damage. Despite the extra work that is needed, officials remain confident the fields will be ready in time for the opening of the fall season, September the 12th. Steve Plesky is out as the warden at the Somerset Make That the Westmoreland County Jail. Plesky was placed on administrative leave with pay last month. Previously worked at Somerset. He was fired by the prison board in Westmoreland last week, with Deputy Warden Robert Fagan placed on administrative leave. Deputy Warden of Operations Ben Carrillo will serve as interim warden. The Westmoreland Fair is ongoing in Mount Pleasant Township. The price of admission at the gate is $10 and includes a parking, amusement rides, and access to all commercial agricultural exhibits. The grandstand arena events are extra. The fair runs through Saturday. 2 people are dead from measles in Pennsylvania. The state's health department said both people were unvaccinated but will not identify them to protect their privacy. These are the first measles-related deaths in the state of Pennsylvania in 35 years. The state's health agency board head said in a release that because measles has been largely eradicated, people seem to be unfamiliar with the potential severity of the disease. They note that the combined measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine is safe and gives the best protection we have against measles. Pennsylvania U.S. Senator John Fetterman reiterated his support for data centers and AI development, framing them as vital for U.S. national security and energy dominance to prevent falling behind China. His statements pushed back against recent moves by the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Pirro, who signed an executive order imposing tighter restrictions on data center developments following growing community pushback over environmental and power grid concerns. Fetterman rejects what he called political pandering and hyperbole over AI technology. A recent poll released out of Pennsylvania last month showed that nearly 75% of Keystone State residents would oppose a data center being built in their backyard or in their community. A new blood test designed to help identify signs of Alzheimer's disease has just been officially announced and cleared by the Food and Drug Administration.
The biomarker blood test from Roche and Eli Lilly is for people over 56 from traditional methods of diagnosing Alzheimer's like spinal taps or PET scans. It's already been approved for use in Europe, and there are 4,500 existing labs across the U.S. that can analyze the blood samples. Every 65 seconds, someone in the United States is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. I'm Rory O'Neill.
More next on WMPS.
So what's the difference between the sheds I see in the parking lot of the big box stores and a professionally built and installed JDM structure shed from Ultimate Structures? Good question. First, the manufacturer, JDM Structures, is one of the premier shed builders in business for 34 years. They use composite materials for the exterior with baked-on paint. This ensures you'll have an extended lifespan for your shed. And listen to this. 75% of Ultimate Structures orders are personally designed to satisfy the customer's needs. That's right. And the turnaround time for a custom designed shed is no longer than just buying a stock shed. Compare the roof designs, the superior piano door hinges, the quality of the wall panels, and personal customer service. You'll see. Come to the Mega Lot on Route 51 South, just outside Perryopolis. You need a shed? We can help. We design what you desire. Ultimate Structures.
In sports, we have Bucco baseball tonight, second game of a 3-game series in San Diego. Your Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Padres. Paul Skeens on the mound for the Bucks, who won last night in 12 innings, 3-2. Now 7.5 games out of a wild card spot. That's this evening. The Bucks and the Friars in San Diego. Pregame is at 9:15. Game at 9:40 on WMBS. Steelers gearing up for their final preseason game when they take on the Buffalo Bills on the road Thursday evening at 7 on WMBS. And Friday night, high school football is back. Another C.R. Parado Group high school sports night. Sprouse Insurance Group pregame is on the air at 6, and both games kick off at 7. Our featured game on the radio and Facebook has the Laurel Highlands Mustangs hosting Mount Pleasant. And then in a Fayette County battle on YouTube, it's Brownsville hosting Uniontown. That's all on the way Friday night on WMBS.
The local district and statewide news was brought to you by Ultimate Structures, just outside of Perryopolis on Route 51 southbound. Call them today at 724-415-0020 to find the shed, cabin, or metal building that meets your needs.
This weather report being brought to you by Montgomery Medical. Trust their 50 years of combined experience for the best results in primary care, newborns to elderly, minor illness or injury, as well as wellness and physical exams. And now the weather.
And right now it's 78 degrees with the overnight low dropping to 58, warming up to 83 Wednesday with sun, and the overnight low at 64, 84 with sunny skies Thursday. The overnight low at 64. More sun Friday at 82, even warmer up to 83 with sunny skies Saturday. Chance of late day rain on Sunday at 87 and 90 on Monday as it gets really warm to start next work week. Right now it's 77 degrees at 5:11 on this Tuesday, and a very good evening from the Davis and Davis studios at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk, and Doug is snapping his fingers. What's up, Doug?
Hello there, Nick. It's sad news, of course, that you heard at the top of the hour from Fox News. Dolly Parton has died. Absolute legend, of course. And at Nick's suggestion, we're going to have Doc on the air tonight at 5:35 p.m. Dr. Robert Thompson, who is director of the Bleier Center for Television and Pop Culture. Perfect guy to interview. Good suggestion, Nick. He's going to join us at 5:35 tonight. We're with you till 9 o'clock. We've got all kind of topics tonight, but we rearranged some things to talk about this topic first. Quite the legend she was.
Thank you, Doug. Looking forward to that, and that's on the way after the stock update from Jenny Montgomery Scott on WMPS.
This weather report was brought to you by Montgomery Medical, a family tradition of family medicine. Same-day appointments available for acute care. Call 724-569-8100 or visit montibed.com to schedule your appointment.
Good evening. This is Melody Cole of Jenny Montgomery Scott here in Uniontown, bringing you today's closing stock market report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 160 points, closing at 53,577. The NASDAQ Composite was up 171 points, closing at 26,151. And the S&P 500 was up 25 points, closing at 7,678. Among companies of local interest, Apple closed at $309.90, down 44 cents. Amazon, $261.06, down $1.01. Cisco, $111.11, up 88 cents. Boeing, $211.06, up 60 cents. Caterpillar, $810.96, down 6 cents. Disney, $111.24, up 63 cents. ExxonMobil, $160.62, down $3.43. First Energy, $46.60, up 3 cents. Johnson & Johnson, $273.13, up $1.43. Home Depot, $337.82, up 39 cents. Intel, $87.48, up 22 cents. McDonald's, $268.09, down $4.45. Meta Platforms, $570.05, up $11.03. PNC Financial Services, $244.06, up 38 cents. Raytheon Technologies, $210.29, up $1.07. Rockwell Automation, $428.99, down 70 cents. Tesla, $350.25, up $1.30. Verizon, $50.22, up 7 cents. And Walmart, $105.38, down $1.11. Recapping, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 160 points, closing at 53,577. The NASDAQ Composite was up 171 points, closing at 26,151. And the S&P 500 was up 25 points, closing at 7,678. From the Uniontown office of Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, New York Stock Exchange, and SIPC, where we serve all of your investment needs. This is Melody Cole.
Uniontown Liquidation Outlet wants to thank you for borrowing our special pay at 2025. Come shop with us for the lowest prices around. We have toys, home goods, tools, electronics, and much more. We offer layaway, so stop in today and ask us how it works. We are located inside the Uniontown Mall.
The Uniontown Liquidation Outlet. Visit us on Facebook, Uniontown Liquidation Outlet.
Hope to see you soon.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
It's the summer sales event going on now at Thurby's Riverside Ford. That means all new Ford Escape, Explorer, Bronco Sport, Bronco, and F-150s come with 0% Ford credit financing for 36 months, plus a $1,000 Ford factory rebate. And as a bonus, all vehicles come with a 2-year, 25,000-mile Ford complimentary maintenance plan.
Check out these low payments on a new 2026 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend or a new 2026 Ford Maverick all-wheel drive pickup. Just $399 per month for 36 months with $999 down. Ford Motor Credit financing required. 3-year lease is based on 10,500 miles per year. No security deposit required.
See Joey, Jimmy, Sammy, or Ashley at Thurby Riverside Ford, your one Ford Elite Presidential Award-winning dealer, located 1 mile past the casino at Nemacolin.
Offer extended to August 31st.
It's time to drive a Ford again.
If it's time for a change of decor at your home, let the trained staff at Chesler's Fine Furniture work their magic. The August store-wide furniture clearance is going on now. There are no gimmicks involved, just great value and old-fashioned service. Chesler's offers the finest in name-brand furnishings by famous makers, plus accent pieces and wall decor that will underline your unique sense of style. You'll find items such as genuine Lazy Boy rocker recliners for $429, 5-piece dining room sets starting at $599. For the family room, there are reclining sofas from $799 and up, with matching reclining love seats and recliners. For the formal living room, there are sofas starting at $499. Don't forget the bedding department, all mattress sets reduced. Every piece of bedroom furniture, every piece of living room furniture and dining room furniture, and every piece of furniture at Chesler's will be discounted.
It's the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS, Wednesday, August 25th, 2026. A sad day for lots of folks today. When you heard the news came out this afternoon, the death of, it's overused, but not in this case, the legend, Dolly Parton. And she really was an absolute legend and far beyond just her physical attributes, of course, which she was certainly well known for, but her prowess of being able to write songs, 2,000 songs she's written for every genre imaginable.
Right.
And I'll probably tell this story multiple times tonight, but she did an interview one time about her song, I Will Always Love You, which she originally wrote for, I'm going to forget his name now. She was on his variety show, Porter.
Cole Porter?
No, not Cole Porter.
I was going to say that's really
Porter.
going back.
No, Porter. I'm sorry. I should have known that before I said it. I had it in my brain.
Same.
And it popped right out. But we'll get to it. And a beautiful version of that song. Then, of course, Whitney Houston.
You're right.
Absolutely sent it skyrocketing in popularity. And Dolly once said, yes, in an interview, she said, yes, I know everybody thinks that Whitney Houston wrote that song and that it's her song, and that's okay with me, just as long as those checks keep rolling in.
Right.
Gosh, as
long as the money's rolling in.
And she was the one that wrote that song, and of course she had the rights to it. So yeah, Porter Wagner was his name.
Oh,
by
there
the
you
way.
go. Not Lyle Wagner.
No, not Lyle Wagner. Porter Wagner, and she was on his show, and she wrote that song for him. And of course, she was married to the same man for many, many years. The joke was nobody ever knew who he was. He had a picture taken with Dolly one time, and he put a bag over his head so he could
Really?
keep his anonymity.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, you read the story, and I've read multiple biographies of Dolly and her own autobiography. Absolutely amazing. Her parents were sharecroppers.
Right.
Grew up in like a 2 or 3 bedroom house. She was the doctor who delivered her was paid with a bag of feed corn.
Wow.
And she goes from that to international stardom, worth. No one's really sure because she has given so much money away to charity over the years, but $500 million is the guess. What she might have been worth, and could have been worth more if she hadn't given so much away. But obviously that's the right thing. So yeah, absolutely amazing person. And of course, she talked all the time about all the work she had done to her
Sure.
body, and she would say to audiences, and I heard her say this once, you know, it costs a lot of money to look this cheap.
It's a great line. It's brilliant. She had a sense of humor about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the hair, and her bosoms will just come right out
Was she
and say
bosomy?
it. She was bosomy, that's for sure. And she would laugh about it. She was on Saturday Night Live one time, and she's doing the monologue. And she's like, you know, I'm just a country girl. I'm not used to the big cities like New York. I don't know how these things come about. And she, now, for instance, this photographer down here in front of me on the floor, now, why would that camera be pointing up at me? But these people know what they're doing. Of course, it's zoomed right in on her.
Sure.
And then there's a photographer, a videographer above me. Now, why would he have a video up there? And of course, it's aimed on at her cleavage, and that was on
Right.
Saturday Night Live. But she was classic at making fun of herself and getting along with people. Deeply religious. She always talked about her love of Jesus. I remember one time she was on America Got Talent. Who was the guy on that? One of the judges who's been sort of legendary.
Where Stern was on there.
Oh no!
Amazingly.
What's
He
America
took
Got?
that
No,
check.
no, American Idol.
American Idol. Oh, Simon.
Simon.
Cow. Yes.
And they're going back and forth, and she said, "Oh, that's fine. You guys can have Simon. I'll have Jesus."
Wow.
So we're going to talk to coming up, as I mentioned in the tease earlier before the stock report, Dr. Robert Thompson, the perfect guy to interview on this. He is the director of the Blyer Center for Television and Popular Culture at Syracuse University. We've had him on many times over the years, and he is the perfect person to talk to about the life, the career, the impact of Dolly Parton, who is almost at one point, Queen Elizabeth said that she had to be seen to be believed.
That's the Queen. You've
About
seen a lot of
herself.
people.
Right. And that almost applies to Dolly Parton.
Oh, I thought you were saying that about Dolly.
No.
I was going to say, wow, the Queen really likes Dolly
She was saying it
Parton.
about herself.
Oh, well, I see. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Right. But almost Dolly had to be seen. I
Did
met,
you meet her?
I
Of
met her
course you
once.
did. You bumped into her.
Just by I bumped into her. Yeah.
Wow.
No, not quite. I met her at a private airport, terminal for private jets at an airport one time.
Wow.
And we just chatted a little bit, and I showed her pictures of my daughter and daughter's.
Did you really?
And she said, "Wow, her mother must be shaped like me," and we'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was
That's
my
a compliment coming from Dolly.
that was my brief discussion with Dolly Parton.
Wow, look at you.
And I said, "Hi, Dolly, how are you? Big fan, that sort of thing." I said, "May I show you pictures of my daughter?" What you gonna say? No.
Well, yeah, that'd be great if she was a you-know-what in person.
Yeah. She didn't.
The word
seem
starts
to-
with a B. We all know what I'm talking
When you
about.
hear a story, she was just nice.
Get out of my way.
She Dollywood.
She's not like Streisand, not to disrespect
Right.
Barbara, but look at Barbara's good side. Dolly wasn't like that.
Yeah.
She didn't have paparazzi telling people to only look at her good side.
Yeah. And insisted that people not make eye contact with her backstage.
just
and
ridiculous.
stuff like that.
I mean, people are going to look at you when you're famous. That comes
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't be worth a nickel if that wasn't the case.
Exactly.
So we're going to check in, as I said, with Dr. Robert Thompson coming up here at 5:35. Believe it or not, we bumped another interview to do this one.
Wow. Well, you have to.
But we will talk to a former Secret Service agent. He was scheduled for 5:35, but we're not going to talk to him.
Luckily, your show today is a marathon, not a
It is.
sprint.
That's right.
It's a
We're on-
long one.
we're on-
Buccos are out west, baby. And last night's game, I was here for it. Thought that thing would never
Oh,
end.
12 innings.
To quote a song, we thought it would never end.
That's unheard of anymore. With this make-believe runner on second base. That
4
usually
hours,
goes
10
past.
minutes.
If it gets to the 11th frame. inning.
Right.
It's unusual, but yeah, that went 12, and they won.
They won. Big win for the Buccos. Skeens on the mound tonight.
Yeah, I think they did well against the Dodgers. You have to accept that, a team's got to know its limitations. You lose 2 games to the greatest team in baseball, and I don't care if they don't have the best record; they're the best team. You lose the first 2 games by 1 run, you get shut out the second game.
Yeah, you're
Or
on the
third game.
road. You're
Right.
facing a bunch of lefties. They struggle against lefties. The Dodgers have won the last 2 World Series.
And last night they went up against lefty and won.
Another lefty,
They are
Robbie Ray.
13 and 29.
Yes, and I
against
understand
lefties.
it's hard to hit lefties, but they should be doing a little better than they are.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
13
rough.
and 29.
That's a rough record.
That's quite a
bad.
record. So, as I mentioned, former Secret Service agent Jeff James is going to join us at 7:35 now and talk about there's so much in the news sometimes you forget big things that happen.
Right.
The story, of course, that President Trump got on the big Air Force One, went out a back door, got in a catering truck, drove away, got another jet, and flew away for security reasons. And we're going to talk who better than a retired Secret Service agent. I want to stress that. We're also going to talk to Major Mike Lyons about the impact of and how economic sanctions combine with military efforts. And that, of course, dealing with the Iranian war. Lanny Fratteri, in an interview about a month ago with us, Nick, said that he wants to come on sometimes and talk about unnecessary things in sports.
No, there's a lot of those.
So he's going to join us. We'll let him rant.
And in society, if he wants to go that far.
Wherever he wants to go with that
Yeah.
one. A horrible story, and we've reported on it here at WMBS, of the co-ed at Penn West, California, being murdered, allegedly murdered. You have to say, or murdered allegedly by her boyfriend. So we're going to check in with Megan Hegedus. She is the CEO of the Domestic Violence Services of Southwestern Pennsylvania. Sort of a tribute to this child and her family, Caroline Wines, to talk about signals to look for when it comes to domestic violence issues. We're going to talk to her at 7:15. We're going to check in with AccuWeather meteorologist and long-term expert. How about that? That's
long-term expert.
Chad Merrill.
Not
Again,
long-time expert.
With long-term forecast, I suppose.
Oh, I see.
Chad Merrill with AccuWeather about the recent severe weather. I guess we're getting very close to the record rainfall for August.
It's been a wet one.
They've set the record for tornadoes this year already. So we're going to check in with him. And then at the end of the show tonight, 8:35, we're going to talk to Larry Magid. We haven't talked to him in a while, CEO of ConnectSafely.org. We'll have a conversation with him about back to school and internet safety and recent lawsuits related to internet safety. All that coming up tonight. It's a busy show, but it's going 4 hours.
Yes. Pace yourselves, everyone.
That's right. Get ready, sit down, maybe have a drink.
Yes. Maybe get a nap in before the Pirate game. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nick.
Just
Yeah.
nap during the breaks. No, don't do that. Listen to our sponsors.
Oh, yeah, don't say
I
that.
don't know what you're going to have to do.
Forget listen to me. Listen to the sponsors.
You're going to have to stay up all night.
So, pregame at 9:15, first pitch against the Friars. Well, now they got the name Padres. That's a good thing to look up. Padres.
It's a good name.
Hispanic for minister, right?
It is,
For
yes.
preacher.
Maybe there's a lot of those in San Diego.
Perhaps.
Are you aware?
And folks call them Friars.
They have a lot
which
of
is-
military bases out there.
There are.
Beautiful city. I'm sure you've been.
I've been to San Diego for a couple of conferences over the years.
Probably didn't see a speck of sand then if you went for conferences.
Yeah, no, it was incredibly chilly, but I had to go in the ocean. I think it was like 62 degrees. I was the only one at the beach.
It is chilly. Even chillier in San Francisco, a little northern of there.
And golfed in the desert there. Saw a road runner when I was golfing one time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was the what, was the Coyote with them?
Coyote. yeah,
That's the old rivalry,
I don't
isn't
think
it?
the Roadrunner had a name or the Coyote had a name. They were just.
Oh,
maybe
I see.
maybe they did have a name. We'll have to look that one up too, Nick. We'll find
So
out
much
about
I have to do tonight.
So
Man,
there it is.
I'm busy.
It's quite a long show tonight. And
Right.
we got lots of guests on a real variety of issues. Are we too late? I'm not paying attention.
No, we're right at 5:30. You have 30 seconds to BS. And
All right. And we're going to hit that Fox News update. I used to say at 5:31 when it was CBS. Now we have to say at 5:30 and 30 seconds.
And I'm sure the listeners are very in tune with that. They really want to know what time that goes off.
That's right.
They just want to hear it ding and go off. They don't need to know what time.
So
but
I
go
should do a
ahead.
countdown from like 5 seconds.
You could, like,
nothing
what
like
is this,
that.
NASA?
Yeah, I don't think it is, Nick. Right now it is, I can't read it, 78 degrees outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys Law Studio.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Tom Regani. Country music legend Dolly Parton has died. The multi-Grammy winner and actress, known for her flashy style and later her humanitarian work, spent decades in the public eye. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more on Dolly's life.
Born the fourth of 12 children in 1946, Parton was a pioneer for women in country music. Her biggest hits include 9 to 5, Jolene, Here You Come Again, and I Will Always Love You. She was inducted into the Country Music and Rock and Roll Halls of Fame, won multiple Grammys, was awarded the National Medal of Arts, and received the Recording Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Parton had been struggling with her health, which forced her to cancel her residency in Las Vegas. She was 80 years old. This has been a Fox News Alert. I'm Tom Rigotti.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
It's Jessica Karingala and Kevin Bain here at Ford of Uniontown. Summer may be winding down, but the savings are still going strong at Ford of Uniontown. Drive home in a new F-150 with up to $9,000 off MSRP. And don't forget about great offers on Super Duties, like up to $7,000 in savings or more if you're a current Ford owner.
But Jess, didn't I hear that September will be about more than just saving money?
That's right. Starting September 1st, Ford of Uniontown is proud to kick off our Load Up for the Common Good food drive. We're asking our customers, friends in the community to load up on non-perishable food items and help us give back to local families in need.
And remember, we don't just sell vehicles. Our award-winning service department is ready to keep your Ford running with convenient online service appointments and free pickup and delivery.
That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's. 724-425-5980 or FordofUniontown.com.
Price excludes tax, title, license, and documentation fees, financing through Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Only one person could sing this song that good. Now, am I going over top on this? Sometimes when celebrities pass away, there's too much gushing, but I don't
Everyone
think
mourns
you
in their own way, Doug.
You cannot gush too much about a legend like Dolly Parton passing away, and at 80 years old. In fact, she just gave an update the other day on her health. But here, this is one of these satirical news sites Nick and I were just talking about called Babylon Bee.
Not the Bumblebee.
Not Bumblebee. Babylon Bee. And it has a picture of Dolly, and it says, "Apocalypse draws near as last remaining universally beloved human being passes away.
That's very funny.
Now, that is satirical, but it's darn accurate, I would think.
Close.
And
Yeah.
joining us right now to talk about that, who better than the director of the Bleier Center for Television and Popular Culture at Syracuse University, Dr. Robert Thompson. Universally beloved human being passes away. That's Dolly. It's a satirical headline, but it's accurate, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I don't think we're making them anymore. I mean, she's getting to be, as we're getting away from the last of the generation that everybody knew. I mean, it's not that, there aren't people that could be university liked. It's that there aren't people that are universally even known anymore to be university liked. I would say the kind of response I've heard over the past couple of hours, which really thinks there are very few people who are left that could get that kind of response. Maybe Paul McCartney, I think, will probably garner that kind of attention. He was a Beatle after all. But Oprah, Beyonce, actually, Dolly Parton reminds me of Oprah in many ways. The way she spread out to everything besides, Oprah started in her kind of mission control ground base of her talk show, but she went out to publishing and acting and producing. And, Dolly Parton, she was known most as a musician, but her acting, her amusement park, for heaven's sakes, all that philanthropy, she really penetrated the culture in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we always say there's always a connection to Pittsburgh here in southwestern PA. Dolly's company bought Kennywood, which is the local amusement park here in southwestern PA. Kennywood and other places we always were wondering if Dolly was going to show up because she used to walk around her park once in a while at Dollywood. When you think about the songs, almost 2,000 songs written, I told this story earlier, and folks have heard me say it before. She talked about the song "I Will Always Love You," which she wrote for Porter Wagner, who was, of course, was the host of the show she was on, the variety show. And she said, "Yes, I know everybody thinks that Whitney Houston wrote 'I Will Always Love You.' That's okay if they want to think that, just as long as those checks keep rolling in."
Yeah, right.
And that's what she was.
That is an interesting song, though. How that Porter Wagner, and I first encountered Dolly Parton as a very young kid. I was born in '59, and the Porter Wagner show came out, I think, in '67. And I have vague memories of that being on a black and white TV, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember Dolly Parton's hair, which of course is always memorable. So that song, starts out back in a complete other era. Dolly writes it, and of course Whitney Houston turns it into a part of the Great American Songbook. And she wrote a lot of songs for other people. I heard the number 3,000 thrown around. And of course not all of them were, Jolene and I Will Always Love You, but there were a lot of really solid songs that did very, very, very well.
And when we were talking earlier about her upbringing, she was the fourth of 12 kids. They lived at one point, imagine this, in a 2-room home. And then her parents became sharecroppers, and she said suddenly we had a 4-room home down south. Came from absolute nothing, and then nobody's really sure what she may have been worth because she gave so much money away all the time. $500 million.
Oh yeah.
Bounced around, and it employed her entire family, her hometown, and loved to make fun of herself, didn't she?
Yeah, okay. So if part of her reminds me of Oprah Winfrey, her complete penetration of the culture, her going into all these different areas, part of Dolly Parton reminded me of Betty White. Because Betty White was always willing to be, part of her own parody. She was totally conscious of her own campiness and all of that kind of thing. And Dolly was like that before it was fashionable. Before Betty was doing that act, or Shatner, or some of the others who have played that, that was kind of always sort of Dolly's bit, at least as long as I can remember her performances. It's interesting you tell that great American story where, and we've all heard, and even before today, the story of 2 rooms and 12 kids. I mean, it seems almost too perfect to be true for a rags to riches story. And then there's always the next step is, and then at 10 years old, she started performing on local radio. There always seems like there's a step missing in some of these stories. Like somewhere magic had to have stepped in because it seems interesting that she's in this 2 rooms with 12 kids. And the next thing you know, she's on local radio, and by 13, I think she's at the Grand Ole Opry, and she establishes herself at quite a young age, given her very, very modest beginnings.
Yeah, at times you're right. It almost like, how did this happen? She started singing in church, for heaven's sakes, and you hear stories about that. She was in the church choir and became a soloist at 4, whatever it may have been. And she even talked back then how the boys seemed to like her because of her dimensions, we'll say. And when she was baptized, she had a T-shirt on. She came out of the water; it was clinging to her. She said that in her own autobiography. And she said,
yeah, right.
"I knew then I could attract people a certain way." And I said the line earlier that she would say, and I saw her say this in concert one time. She says it costs a lot of money to look this cheap. So she didn't hold back.
Yeah, right. I remember that line. And, she did. I think given the time that she was emerging as a star, the late 1960s in a big way, and then, of course, through the 70s, I think she had to play along with that. I remember Johnny Carson, making jokes about her dimensions, as you delicately called them, was one of the things he did. I mean, it was just many times in kind of a piggish, unsophisticated way. And she always just kind of not only rode that, but in some ways even accelerated it to some extent.
And because that was how she was. She was just like, honest to heavens, they talk about who could you have a beer with or who could you sit on the back porch with and have a cup of coffee. I think she'd have been comfortable talking to your mom or my mom or Nick's mom. She just seemed to fit in.
She'd be welcome in our house, certainly.
Yeah, she's welcome anytime. But that's just how she was. She just seemed so down to earth, and people who knew her personally would say, that's Dolly. There's no fake. She doesn't put on a facade when she goes on a talk show or she's on stage. She's that way everywhere. She goes to someone's house for a party and starts singing songs with people just for fun. You're sort of fascinating.
And, for all that kind of jolly, funny, whatever, if you go through, the totality of her body of music that she wrote a lot of really dark songs. I mean, they're not all just 9 to 5 kinds of things. Right. Not that 9 to 5 was a happy song either, for that matter.
No.
But I think you were opening with Jolene. That is a really pathos I mean, this poor woman begging someone. I know you're capable of ruining my life. Please don't do it. That's an unusual kind of song, and that was one of her biggest hits.
Yeah, absolutely. And they played it. They'll still be playing it 30 years from now, because on certain radio stations, because it fits in. It's been played on this radio station many years.
Oh, yeah, and today I've probably heard it 100 times. And that's been covered by everybody from, Miley Cyrus to Beyonce.
And when you think who she wrote for, I mean, you could guess who they might write for, Emmylou Harris or Merle Haggard. But when you think she wrote songs for Whitney Houston and she wrote songs for Tina Turner and Bob Dylan, you think about and those checks kept rolling in. She had no problem talking about, I like making money. And
well, I imagine if you start out life sharing a bedroom with 11 siblings, you appreciate the change when it starts rolling in.
Yeah, and then she went on to hire them. They talk about her whole family, extended family and friends and relatives all worked for her companies and worked at her amusement parks. If someone needed a job, she said, okay, boys, hire her. And they weren't going to say, no, Dolly. They found them a job somewhere.
It's that amusement park is interesting because in some ways, for a lot of people, in the future, but even now, who don't know her music as well, that amusement park is a whole other way. Remember Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
By the time I was a kid, nobody remembered Arthur Treacher, the actor. Nobody knew any of his movies, or not many people. I certainly didn't. And his name became a major legacy through being part of that that franchise. Alas, it's gone. I used to like that place. But I'm wondering if Dollywood, as Dollywood, is going to, go on into the future decades and centuries with that same name, because that's another way in which, I mean, obviously, she lived in the age when music could be recorded. We'll be listening to those songs forever. And a few of her movies people might continue to watch. I think they were, a lot of her films were very much of their time. But that amusement park could be one of the real lasting ways in which her name stays many years after her passing in the public consciousness.
Yeah, like Walt Disney, for heaven's sakes. I think most people now...
Yeah, right. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, most people now think of Walt Disney being the amusement park guy, and probably not the guy who made an incredible career out of animation and video and audio and just changed things. But he's known for Walt Disney World or Disneyland or all over the world.
I've encountered at least 3 children who thought Walt Disney was a mouse.
Or they don't even know who he was, just that that's the name of the amusement park. They don't even know there was a Walt Disney.
Right. But that name continues as a result of that. That's right, Nick. Yeah, sort of fascinating. And you can't talk about Dolly without talking about her husband, who was so classically behind the scenes. At one point, there was a great photo of him wearing a paper bag over his head with 2 holes cut out. Just to keep
another great comparison with Oprah.
Yeah, to keep his anonymity, right.
Yeah. Mr. Dean, the original Stedman.
Stedman. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Dean. And some people, or I've heard already, did she die of a broken heart? She said, I will never get over the loss of my husband.
Yeah, when did he pass? What, just a couple of years ago, was it? Or
last year, I believe.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I think it was last year.
Last year, yes.
And for the man that, once in a while there would be a photo of him somewhere. They did catch him once in a while, but he certainly didn't go out and try to make a name for himself. Thanks to his wife, he was happy to be Dolly's husband.
And I think one of the reasons that people were shocked, I mean, I was surprised, and we got some warning. She canceled those performances and that kind of thing. So we got some warning that she was having some difficulties, but she looked so young, and she sounded so young. I mean, 80 is is a nice, full kind of life, but I think a lot of people just didn't think of her as being 80, even though they knew. It's Cher, isn't Cher almost 80 as well? But she doesn't look it. And, of course, as Dolly points out, that youth doesn't come without a price tag.
That's right. But, no, you're right, though. She acted like a young person. It wasn't like...
Very much so, yeah.
And she had that just cheerful disposition. So I'm looking at an article here. Best known for hits like Jolene and 9 to 5, but she wrote, you're right. Why should we question Dr. Thompson? Wrote over 3,000 songs in the course of a second-decade career. And how about this? In 2015, she even wrote a song that was sealed in a time capsule and won't be open until 2046. I don't know if Nick, you might be around for that.
Maybe we'll see.
Let's see. No, maybe I plan to be around. So does Dr.
Wait, that's
Thompson.
only 20 years from
That's
now.
right. We'll be around. What am I?
I hope you're still around.
Oh yeah, I hope
Absolutely,
so too.
You'll make it.
I'll be only 83.
You'll make it to
That's
Super
right,
Bowl
yeah.
80.
Yeah, I hope to. I hope to do that. But yeah, that's sort of funny that she sealed a song in a time capsule. 3,000 songs she wrote. Amazing. Stuff. It's
yeah, it is. There are very few people who are going to get the kind of response that this did, because there are very few people that I said earlier, that everybody even knows anymore. There aren't, and it's not because people aren't as talented being born today. It's just that everybody is split up into different audiences because there's so many different places that they can consume them. Back when there was only 3 networks, a couple of movie houses, and a few newspapers and radio stations, everybody consumed, they fed from the same cultural trough. And that's not the case anymore. And Dolly was not the last, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other people. Jimmy Stewart, would he have fallen under a category like that? He was so beloved in his day, but certainly not to this level. But yeah, those types of people who
Marlon Brando, maybe. I'm just trying to
I'm
rack
trying
my brain.
people who was but
Streisand, who's still
So
around,
when I think of Marlon Brando, the word beloved doesn't immediately come to mind.
No.
Right. I'm just saying like universally known, but those people.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, you're right.
But those
right,
people mentioned, they didn't go into every imaginable type of industry.
Right.
They weren't writing books.
There are people universally known, I guess, they're politicians now. I mean,
Yeah,
most people, everyone knows Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But when it comes to entertainment,
Yeah, no, you're right. That's really where that's really become the last of monoculture celebrity are political leaders.
Right. Maybe athletes, some, but not everyone's into sports. But I mean, if LeBron's very, very famous, guys like that, Brady. But yeah, there's not a lot of people left.
But yeah, you're right. I didn't think. I'm trying to think. Paul McCartney might be the
Yes.
closest thing
I think that's a great example.
to because he did movies back in his day, the Beatle movies.
He's a Beatle.
Yeah,
He found
and
his
he's a
Beatles.
Beatle to boot.
Greatest band in the history
Well,
of music.
and like Dolly, it's going to be a shock, even though he's old enough now that it shouldn't shock us. But it's going to be because he came to Syracuse a few years ago, and he performed right on campus in the Dome. And I went to that concert, and he did 3 hours and 15 minutes with no intermission.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I have to say, I'm a lot younger than him. Well, a lot younger, but I'm considerably younger than him. And I have a hard time listening to music for 3 hours and 15 minutes without an intermission, much less performing it.
Exactly.
Well, Nick and I joke. We've been to see the Stones, and outside the stadium the one time there were 4 ambulances, and we just assumed they froze the Rolling Stones,
Right.
put them in these ambulances, and thawed them out for the next concert.
They each got their own ambulance. Mick and Keith didn't have to share
Yeah,
one.
they didn't have to share an ambulance on the way out.
I mean, Springsteen.
Last time I
Beatles.
saw Mick, I don't think they thought him very well.
Ah.
Yeah, that's right. But he still runs up and down the stage like a kid.
That's true. He still does that.
Yeah, just
You remember when he hosted, many years ago, but he hosted Saturday Night Live, and he actually performed in some of the comic sketches.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a hilarious comedian.
Yeah,
He's great.
It was really amazing how talented he is, besides just what we know him for.
Chris Farley he was that talk show host who got real nervous around his guests. And
Right.
And he couldn't control himself interviewing Paul McCartney. Yeah.
Remember you when you were in the Beatles?
Yeah, that's
that
what he
was
said.
awesome.
Do you remember? Yeah. See, here's I mentioned
I
this earlier.
miss Chris Farley.
Yeah, he was great as
Dolly
well.
Parton's family couldn't afford to pay the medical bills for her birth with money, so her father, a construction worker and farmer, paid the doctor who delivered her with a sack of oatmeal. That's how they
almighty.
paid.
That is called humble beginnings.
Yeah. That's
Those stories are almost too perfect to be. But I guess it was a long time ago she was born. 80 years ago, to be precise.
Her best friend was her same best friend when she was a child, a woman named Judy Ogle. We've been best friends for 64 years since we were little kids. And there's another. I have friends I've known since first grade. You don't think of Hollywood stars keeping their childhood friends.
Right.
Kind of crazy stuff. Dr. Thompson, we really do appreciate your taking time to join us. I'm sure you've done a gazillion interviews today on this one. And yeah, you're right, though. It shouldn't be shocking when an 80-year-old who's had health problems dies. But at the same time, it is a shock that Dolly's not around anymore. You just think she's one of those people who will last forever.
Yeah, you really do. It's still, it hadn't been that long, but it still is. When you say she's not around anymore, that still sounds a little shocking.
Yeah, it's and thanks to the world of music and audio and video, she will be around forever. So sort of
that's true. I mean, the great thing about the electronic media is that it truly makes certain people immortal.
Yeah, it really does. Dr. Thompson, thanks so much. It's been a while since we talked to you. Someday we'll have to talk to you when someone hasn't passed away. We tend to do that. I think,
Yeah, let's do that.
And we'll make sure we do that. So good luck with your future interviews. I hope this one was a good practice for you. I think that's what it is sometimes.
Good talking to you.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take a break. We're going to wrap up hour number 1. Stick around.
Looking for a family-friendly Labor Day weekend adventure? Don't miss Friendship Hill's Whiskey Rebellion Festival, Saturday and Sunday, September 5th and 6th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Friendship Hill National Historic Site on Route 166 in New Geneva. Watch Albert Gallatin and George Washington bring history alive as they discuss the 1791 whiskey excise tax. Hear and interact with author Brady Kreitzer on Saturday and historian Tom Karlowicz on Sunday. Enjoy the barbecue buggy and Mama Ruka's old-fashioned sodas and floats. Join a 10:30 a.m. period Sunday worship service with Reverend George Relic. Twice a day, the Park Service's 6-pounder cannon plays the part of the Watermelon Army's Federal Artillery, and it's prepared and fired, too. Enjoy a relaxed festival atmosphere without huge crowds. The Whiskey Rebellion Festival, September 5th and 6th from 11 to 4. Admission is free. $1 per car donation for parking is appreciated. For more information, visit the Friendship Hill Association Facebook page. See you there. If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Looking for a dentist? Dr. Michael George and Dr. Ashley Parker of George Dental Associates, a Uniontown staple, has over 40 years' experience treating patients of all ages. Their caring, professional team of dentists and their staff offer a full range of dental services, including restorative, preventative, pediatric, cosmetic, and so much more. Visit georgedentalassociates.com today. That's georgedentalassociates.com and find out how they can enhance your smile through the art of dentistry.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
WMBS.
That's Dolly. Dolly, true and true. Nick tells me I have 30 seconds left. I actually have 1 minute and 30 seconds left, Nick. Yeah, no, Nick, you got to be better
I
at
said
this.
90 seconds.
Oh, I thought you said 30
No,
seconds.
get
I'm
your
sorry.
ears checked, old man.
I'm sorry. That song, of course, was "I Will Always Love You" by Dolly Parton, which she wrote for Porter Wagner at one point. But I'm reading stories here, like the things you don't know about Dolly Parton. Her husband rarely did any interviews, but he did an interview one time about how she met her husband. Her first day in Nashville, they met each other outside a wishy-washy laundromat. That's what it was called.
What was the name of it?
A wishy-washy laundromat. He said he took one look at it and said, "I'm going to marry this woman."
Aw.
And then it hit her like, "My gosh, is she good looking?" That took her.
There you go.
So, and 50 years later, there's the story. Coming up, we're really going to change topics tonight. Coming up, we're going to talk to Major Mike Lyons about economic sanctions and military efforts against Iran. You name a topic tonight, we're talking about it. Domestic violence and the weather, you name it. News is next on WMBS Uniontown.
All right. I guess the Fox anchor isn't there.
This is what we talk about in the world of radio. You heard that was Fox Music Fox plays that intro music, but right now there should be some sort of a news anchor talking here.
There's no anchor there.
For 6 o'clock news. Nick has the pod up, so any given moment.
Any moment.
But again, we don't play that music. It's not like we played the music and nothing came across. They play the music.
No, this is not our fault. Doug cannot stress enough.
No,
me
I'm just saying,
and Doug didn't do anything wrong.
They managed to play the music,
They
but
did.
for some reason,
There's no anchor there.
no one's talking.
They're at the John.
They're running, saying, "Where's my script?"
They are, exactly.
That's a joke Nick and I told one time. Nora O'Donnell, when she first became the anchor of the CBS Evening News, used to do what the 5 p.m. news, the radio news.
Right.
And at one point, there was dead silence like this. And then suddenly you hear her scream, "Where's my script?" It went out over a hot mic.
It did.
As we say in the biz. And I don't think that really had an impact on her career. But we thought that was rather funny.
Yeah, she's on 60 Minutes now. She's doing just fine.
Yeah. What the one night we were going to the news at the top of the hour, of course, we're an ABC, we're a CBS affiliate. We've never been an ABC affiliate. But suddenly, what was that? David Muir, the anchor of the ABC Evening News, was coming over.
TV news
was coming over this CBS News feed.
It was.
And we're like, isn't that David Muir? So I called CBS in New York and said, "Listen, you had an issue here. David Muir was coming across the 90s."
Oh. They're playing their line or going to break.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The future of cornhole is here. From casual backyard games to professional ACL tournaments, the Cornhole app is your all-in-one hub for the game you love. Keep score, track stats, follow your favorite players, and manage leagues and tournaments with powerful event tools. Whether you're a brand new player or an ACL pro, the Cornhole app connects you to the entire cornhole community. Download the Cornhole app today.
Looking for a family-friendly Labor Day weekend adventure? Don't miss Friendship Hill's Whiskey Rebellion Festival, Saturday and Sunday, September 5th and 6th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Friendship Hill National Historic Site on Route 166 in New Geneva. Watch Albert Gallatin and George Washington bring history alive as they discuss the 1791 whiskey excise tax. Hear and interact with author Brady Kreitzer on Saturday and historian Tom Karlowicz on Sunday. Enjoy the barbecue buggy and Mama Ruka's old-fashioned sodas and floats. Join a 10:30 a.m. period Sunday worship service with Reverend George Relic. Twice a day, the Park Service's 6-pounder cannon plays the part of the Watermelon Army's federal artillery, and it's prepared and fired, too. Enjoy a relaxed festival atmosphere without huge crowds. The Whiskey Rebellion Festival, September 5th and 6th from 11 to 4. Admission is free. $1 per car donation for parking is appreciated. For more information, visit the Friendship Hill Association Facebook page. See you there.
Agenda.
Since his Democrat Senate primary win in Michigan, Abdul El Sayed says he's come under attack by opponents who he says have increasingly emphasized his Muslim religion.
There's a verse in the Quran that says, "Do not let another people's hatred for you stop you from doing justice."
El Sayed also distancing himself from anti-Semitic comments made by far-left streamer Hassan Piker, who's appeared with El Sayed, as he also works to unite progressive and establishment Democrats in November's contest against Republican Mike Rogers, a race that could help decide control of the U.S. Senate.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Stocks finish higher. The Dow up 160 points. A rebound for the S&P up 24. And for the NASDAQ up 171. U.S. oil prices dipping under $82 a barrel during the session. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. And now the news.
Your local station, WMBS, obviously an issue with Fox News there, but they got it resolved there in the last minute. Hopefully we'll get their full 5-minute newscast next hour. And I cannot emphasize enough, Doug and I did nothing wrong. Your local station, WMBS, 6:05 on a Tuesday. Sunny and 78, beautiful summer day, even though the kids are already back in school. Doug will go on his rant about that later. Much more on the Weather Watch and sports in just a bit. The Brownsville Youth Soccer Association is dealing with a setback after 3 soccer fields at Patsy Hillman Park in Luzerne Township in Fayette were vandalized over the weekend by ATVs. The association board leader discovered the tire damage this weekend. Local residents helped identify at least one suspect by sharing pictures and videos of 3 riders on the grounds, and numerous volunteers have stepped up to help repair the damage. Despite the extra work that needs to be done, officials remain confident the fields will be ready to go by the start of the fall season in the middle of next month. Southwest Pennsylvania Water Authority will have the water shut off on Tuesday, the 1st of September. That's a week from today. In the New Salem area from North Mill Street and Mary to Main Street, and a small section of South Mill Street from the Presbyterian Church to West Main, from West Main and Mario Lane to Salem Avenue and all of Antrim Street. From 8 a.m. to 4 in the evening, customers may experience low pressure or no water, and they thank you for your patience and understanding during that outage next week. The rain date is Wednesday the 2nd. Pennsylvania U.S. Senator John Fetterman again voiced his support for data centers and AI development in the Keystone State. He says they're vital for U.S. national security and energy dominance to prevent falling behind Asian nations. His statements went against recent moves by Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro, who recently signed an executive order imposing tighter restrictions on data center developments in the Keystone State. Fetterman rejects what he says is political pandering and hyperbole over AI technology. A new poll released last month showed nearly 75% of Pennsylvania residents are against having a data center being built around their homes or businesses. Price of gas in southwest Pennsylvania rose by 18 cents this week to reach $4.35 a gallon, while the national average went up to a record high of $4.09 for the state. Locally in Fayette County, it is $4.40. Allegheny, it's $4.37. The price increase driven by the high demand for oil around the nation, analysts say. A new blood test designed to help identify signs of Alzheimer's disease has been officially approved by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration.
The biomarker blood test from Roche and Eli Lilly is for people over 56 from traditional methods of diagnosing Alzheimer's like spinal taps or PET scans. It's already been approved for use in Europe, and there are 4,500 existing labs across the U.S. that can analyze the blood samples. Every 65 seconds, someone in the United States is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. I'm Rory O'Neill.
Your local station, WMPS, 78 degrees at 6:08. More next.
Is it time for your first home or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
And dogs may not be aware of what a popularity contest is, but these 10 breeds are winning one anyways. Folks, this story is what we call a kicker. Michael Kastner has more.
Want a dog to curl up beside me.
The pet sitter and service provider Rover assessed its database of millions of user-submitted dogs to determine which 10 breeds are among the most popular with U.S. families in 2026. Non-designer mixed breeds once again come in at number 1 in the rankings, followed by Labrador Retrievers, Golden Retrievers, Golden Doodles, and German Shepherds to round out the top 5. The small but feisty Chihuahua enters the list at number 6. I'm Michael Kastner.
And in sports, Bucko baseball this evening. Pittsburgh Pirates taking on San Diego out west. The Friars are the host for the Bucks tonight. Last night, a 4-hour game. Gotta love those at 12 innings. Buccos with a win, 3-2. Paul Skeens on the mound tonight for Pittsburgh. They're 7.5 games out of a wild card spot in the National League. That's this evening on the air at 9:15. Game at 9:40 on WMBS. Steelers wrap up preseason Thursday when they take on the Buffalo Bills. That's at 7 Thursday evening on WMBS. We don't know exactly who's going to start under center for that one. 6:11 right now, and the Weather Watch is next.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51.
The Weather Watch is being brought to you by State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson. Call Nate at 724-438-7611 for life, home, car insurance, and more. Get a free quote now. And right now we're at 77 degrees. The overnight low at 60, up to 83 Wednesday with sun. Low at 67, 83 with sun Thursday. More sun for the weekend. Looks like a nice dry weekend. The last one of August. The summer does wind down going into the Labor Day weekend. 83 on Friday, up to 83 on Saturday with sun. More sun Sunday and 87. Chance of showers late Sunday, but then drying on Monday, and we're back into the 90s at 91 on Monday. Right now, 76 at 6:11. Good evening from the Davis & Davis studios at WMBS. I'm Nick Barczyk. More of the Afternoon Drive Show, 3 more hours until 9 this evening. Doug Saltzman's next on WMBS. Good evening. The Weather Watch has been brought to you by State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson. Nate is there for you. Call 724-438-7611 for life, home, car insurance, and more.
One call cleans it all with Madewell Services. Family owned and operated, Madewell Services has the cleaning covered with their dependable and detailed residential and commercial cleaning, so you can come home and unwind. And Madewell Services does it all with their weekly, bi-weekly, or deep cleanings, as well as move-in and move-out services, plus junk removal. For a free estimate or to schedule a cleaning, just call or text Madewell Services at 724-912-1805.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals. Locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
When you're looking for high-quality medical care at an affordable price, look no further than Centerville Clinics. Dr. Robert Hogan, a board-certified internal medicine physician, has joined the staff at Uniontown Family Doctors, part of the Centerville Clinics network, and is now accepting new patients. To schedule your appointment, call 724-632-6801. Centerville Clinics participates with most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, and provides quality health care regardless of your ability to pay. Centerville Clinics, caring for our community, one patient at a time. Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottdale at 724-220-5281.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has 2 convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borch Jr.
Well, somehow, Nick, we're going to have to transition from the first hour talking about Dolly Parton and now to talk about a much more serious topic
It
here.
is hard to believe life will go on without Dolly.
Without
she was
Dolly.
such a legend.
And again,
just a nice person. And in all seriousness, the world doesn't have enough nice, sweet people in it. I never met the woman, but she seemed like a nice, sweet, genuine human being. And I'm being serious. I often joke around, but the world needs more people like that.
And
You're
this-
like that, Doug.
Oh, thank you.
Now I'm
Yeah.
joking. Now back to the joking part.
Right. Babylon Bee, of course, which is the satirical news source,
right,
has a beautiful picture of Dolly, and it says, "Apocalypse draws near as last remaining universally beloved human being passes away."
That's funny.
It's funny.
She would like that.
It's pretty true.
Yes, she'd get a kick out of that, I think.
Oh, she'd love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Apocalypse near. So somehow we're going to have to transition from that to talking about the impact of and how economic sanctions combine with military efforts when it comes to the now 6-month-old war in Iran. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, Army combat veteran Major Mike Lyons. Major, somehow we're going to make this transition from Dolly Parton to this topic. But they talked about this. It's going to be the D-Day of all economic sanctions, classic Trump terminology, how does this combine with a military effort? And obviously, President Roosevelt back in the day said we're going to continue our economic efforts against Japan unless they agree to non-aggression. As these talks are going on, of course, they bombed Pearl Harbor. So it's nothing new to take economic aim at an adversary during wartime, correct?
Yeah, I mean, so let's take big picture framework here. So economic military pressure working together. You have the Secretary of Treasury leading this press conference on Monday. U.S. military operation created the conditions for this administration to wage this economic pressure against Iran. This is a siege mentality from a military perspective. Some would call it maybe a coercive diplomacy. And it basically says the military goes first, destroys any capability, degrades infrastructure, demonstrates that we can continue to wear the enemy down, and then now convert those military gains into strategic compliance. We know that military forces never ended a modern conflict, right? But it does create the conditions for this economic pressure to work, and that's what we're facing right now. The blockade is going on, and Iran is being strangled. They're now admitting it, that they're under pressure, that their real is just completely has collapsed. There's real pressure inside the country. Oil getting out from our allies through that one part of the Strait of Hormuz. So again, the plan, it didn't maybe look like it started that way, but what we have right now is if we can continue this through, we might get the solution that we need as a deal with the Iranians to get them back into the international community.
Yeah, there's always talk about this before bombs are dropped. Why do you think it's not done more heavily at the beginning, saying, okay, here's the first part. After that, we go to war. Why do you think it's usually in this order?
Yeah, I think a lot of it just has to do with the politicians can't sync up the economics and the military at the same time. I think, we started, let's say, Desert Storm, right? The Desert Storm, we had some sanctions in place. We used the military. And then from about 1990 to 2003, the sanctions ended up working because of the military, but then they failed politically. So that really didn't degrade their capability. We had an issue, and we had to end up going back and cleaning that up. It didn't work at all in North Korea, for example. We had complete sanctions on North Korea to try to stop their nuclear program. We didn't even try to impart the military there, and look what happened there. They got a bomb. So I think in some ways that administrations just, again, they don't synchronize one with the other, but it appears that this one has. Starting with the military first. I mean, we had certain sanctions on Iran for years, and we had them tied up in certain areas. But now this kind of economic D-Day, this kind of last bit of resolve with it's going to affect China, Russia, some of India, some of our other allies there. UAE's been cut off, and now the military has again set the conditions to do that.
Yeah. Now, a government like Iran. Frankly, doesn't care much about its own people. This could cause mass starvation among its people if they don't even have the economic ability to feed their own people. But is it important to Iran to feed their own people? I think it's something like the Nazis had such trouble with Russia because Russia had no problem losing 10,000 soldiers in every battle. Right. The United States did have problems with losing that many people in a battle. But right. Russia didn't. When you think of the millions and millions of Russian soldiers who died during World War II, there's talk now that there may be as many Russian soldiers died during the war with Ukraine as America lost in World War II. I mean, that's amazing numbers. When you're going up against a government who really doesn't care about the well-being of their own people,
right?
Does that hurt an effort when it comes to economics?
Yeah, 416,000 Americans lost in World War II. It's over that number. Clearly, Russia and Ukraine right now, and Russia lost 20 million or so during World War II. No, I think in this situation, though, it might be a little different in that the Iranian culture is different. We don't know if that would get to that spot where they would have that level of destitution. The Iranian culture is, has capability and so far appears to be inoculated. Now, I don't anticipate. We know that the Iranian, the IRGC has taken uprisings and shot people in the street and they've murdered their own people and the like. But 90 million people is a lot of people to be starving, and it will eventually there'll be an uprising there if that keeps going in such a way that they could implode from within.
Yeah, you can't really get a sense of when they're we have a dollar, they have, I think it's called a real.
Yeah.
Fell to 2.0 million per dollar.
Yeah.
I can't even get a sense of what that means,
Right.
And that's, they said, largely due to the economic toll of the war. But it takes a 22% increase to buy $1. Now, again, I'm not an economist. I can vaguely understand what that means, but it doesn't sound good.
Well, everything coming into Iran potentially right now from China or Russia it has been locked off based on this economic D-Day. And at the end of the day, there's a trade number that has to be traded. And in most cases, that's settled in U.S. dollars. And if rial is what they have, and if they can't buy U.S. dollars, if it takes so many, then now inflation is just so through the roof inside of Iran that eventually that's what's going to impact the people there. We see Russia tried to get parts using the Caspian Sea, that landlocked piece of sea that's to the north and to the east of Iran. But the Ukrainians are hitting those vessels with drones and long-range missiles. The Chinese seem to, have been sitting this one out as they've not really supported their vassal state. They had potentially delivered air defense systems, but those SA-7s are not the kind of things that are going to create a strategic impact. So overall, this is about complete isolation of Iran in a way we've not seen before, and happening in conjunction with what's been a successful military campaign.
Yeah, following up the comments you just made, I'm looking at numbers here. They think that estimated in June that Iran's inflation rate will hit 70% in 2026.
Right.
That consumer prices will have risen 88% compared to last year, with food and beverage inflation at 128%. I mean, those numbers it seem unbelievable. You can't. I mean, that's I don't know, Germany post World War I.
Right.
That's sort
Weimar
of
Republic numbers.
Yeah.
Wipes out savings of families that were there. Wipes out. It's going to cost them just an incredible amount just to survive in basic subsistence, and so that's what this is all about. And it'll stop once the Iranians agree to our conditions, and you'll see Trump, I think, take this to the nth degree. He'll take this to as far as he can possibly go to make sure that that we get the conditions that we want.
Yeah, it really. Some story here, and hard to understand, and that's why we have folks on like you to talk about again the impact of and how these sanctions combined with military efforts, and it's nothing new, as we said, as I mentioned earlier, that Roosevelt was trying to do that to Japan, and literally were negotiating it. When the bombs started dropping at Pearl, and so that sort of effort. My gosh, you read stories about following the Revolutionary War, trying to pay down the debt of the Revolutionary War. We have a local hero here, Albert Gallatin, who was Secretary of the Treasury, whose goal was to work on the deficit following the Revolutionary War. So that was pocket change compared to what it is. The debt is right now at $40 trillion. Hard to believe. As always, Major Lyons, we appreciate your taking time to join us. Thank you very much, as always, for your service to our country. You make good sense of stuff that's hard to understand, frankly, and we appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me.
All
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Major Mike Lyons joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Weird topics. When you think about numbers like that I was just mentioning, like food prices this year, food and beverage have gone up at 128%. Imagine more than doubling your food. They talk about, we have inflation here and prices of gas have gone up, but good heavens, these numbers like that. And it's not as if, and I use that comparison, when you think 20 million Russian soldiers died in World War II. Americans lost hundreds of thousands, 400 to 500,000. That's one death is horrible, but compared to those numbers to Russia, they didn't care how many of their soldiers died. You think about that. They were approaching the same amount of deaths in this war with Ukraine as the United States had in World War II.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Puzzling numbers here. Hey, as mentioned earlier, coming up, talking about changing topics, we are really bouncing around tonight. Lanny Fratteri is going to join us as Nick types into an open mic over there.
I think people like that. It's like the old teletype machine.
Oh, the old teletype
Tick,
machine.
tick, 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 tick.
Okay, go ahead. Type away.
They still
over
do
there.
that at a station in New York.
Do they really?
They do.
KQV, the old news station in Pittsburgh, which is now long since gone, for years, and they finally gave it up at the end. Anytime there was an anchor talking, there was a fake ticker tape in the
Yes.
background.
Why not?
Keep
Keep it alive.
Is there really one in New York?
Yes. I won't say it because, competition, but yeah, there is. I'll tell you off the air. News station.
Oh, tell us whoever it is.
Oh, it's 1010 wins,
Oh,
WINS.
And that
Yes.
is ABC.
That's New York. That's maybe now.
Yeah.
I think it used to be CBS.
No, WCBS of
Might
course,
be Fox.
is now WCBS is now, good heavens, ESPN.
That's right.
And that's sad to think of. The national companies, Odyssey is that one, who could somehow not make money on an all news radio station in New York.
That's amazing. A lot of stuff happens in New York. I'm not sure if you're aware. Yeah.
I
If you
suppose.
can't make money doing news radio in New York City,
New York City,
there's
yeah,
something wrong.
This is a company that if you and I had about $7 million, we could have bought all those radio stations from Odyssey.
Well, I'll
Now,
look under my car seat. Maybe
we
I
would
have
had to
a
have
few.
taken a lot of debt along with it.
Yeah.
But at one point, they got delisted on the New York Times, or on the New York Times, on the New York Stock Exchange because their stock price got so incredibly low.
That's right. Very, very low. How low can it go, Doug?
I'm not sure, Nick. We won't worry about that. But coming up, speaking of Fox News, we will have a Fox News update coming up here in a few minutes. As I mentioned earlier, Lanny Fratteri is going to join us right after
Lanny.
the break. We've had him on about 3 times in the last
lot.
month and a half, talking about. Boy, he was gloomy about the Pony League World Series. He was the fact that they had to literally cancel it at the end. Oh,
They did? I'm not.
Oh, you were on vacation.
Yeah, I didn't know this.
Oh, they had such horrendous rain, Nick. We reported on it here a lot on the station. They could not get the fields in condition. They had to cancel about 4 games, so they made the decision they were just going to have it single elimination. Here, I'm giving Nick a news update here.
I didn't know this.
They did a good for you staying away from the world of news while you were on vacation at
tried.
the beach. No, it was going to be between Washington, PA, and Chinese Taipei.
Right.
Because they were the only undefeated teams. They literally could not get the field in condition to play. There was no champion this year.
Oh, that's awful.
Imagine how depressed those kids.
I thought you were joking because
no.
Lanny was so happy about it
They
beforehand.
They couldn't postpone it anymore because people are flying in from all over the planet.
Right.
It's not like, okay, we'll just take a later flight.
Right.
There was a lot of anger, like, why didn't they use another field? There's turf fields. There are very specific rules for Pony League World Series. You cannot play on a turf field.
Yeah.
And they just literally could not get the field in playable condition.
Interesting. Well, I was not aware of that.
Now, some other teams got together and played, friendlies, as they call it,
Yeah, on soccer.
On turf fields, but you could not play those. And, there was a lot of anger as to why they couldn't figure out a way to make this happen this year.
Well, that's upsetting.
But
Mother Nature.
The
reared
rain
her
while you were
ugly
on
head.
vacation was horrendous.
Yeah.
Good for you, staying away from the news. Sometimes you have to unplug.
Yes, the Pony League World Series news I stayed away from. I kept up with the really important things. So Pony League is important.
So how did this come up? Well, I was saying how upset Lanny was, who, of course, is sort of the major spokesperson for the Pony League World Series.
Right.
And we had him on a couple of times just giving us updates on what was going on. And he said, it looks like there may not be a champion this year. And then that's the news that came down. He actually texted that to me while I was on the air, and we broke the news here at WIBS.
Of course. Your local news leader.
And we didn't even go to a breaking news desk to do it.
You didn't have to?
No.
What about when there's severe weather? Did you go to the severe weather desk?
We didn't do that either.
No?
No, we didn't do that either. Speaking
Breaking news. It's 5 in the afternoon, but here's something that happened at 7 this morning.
Yeah, I was watching 11 o'clock news one night on one of these stations here locally, and they had the breaking news banner comes across.
Of course.
Then they go to somebody live somewhere, and she said her opening line was early this morning. And like maybe if you're going to pretend it's breaking news and it's 11 o'clock at night, don't start your report with early this morning.
Right. I'm sure there are new developments in the story, but
Right.
still, if it happened at 8 a.m. and it's
Yeah,
11
but
p.m.
it's not breaking
it's
news.
not breaking if it happened 15 hours ago.
Yeah. And have you, Channel 2, have you seen this new thing now? They have this virtual thing where some people say it's like giving them motion sickness. It's so crazy.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I'm
very
not
strange.
familiar.
I don't watch a lot of local news, hardly any at all for that matter. 78 degrees right now outside our Davis and Davis Attorneys Law Studios. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Nick Barczyk over there producing the show. Coming up here, Fox News Update. We'll be back, as I mentioned, talking to Lanny Fateri about unnecessary things in sports. But first, let's go to Fox.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Tom Rigotti. Country music legend Dolly Parton has died. The multi-Grammy winner and actress, known for her flashy style and later her humanitarian work, spent decades in the public eye. Fox's Tanja J. Powers has more on Dolly's life.
Born the fourth of 12 children in 1946, Parton was a pioneer for women in country music. Her biggest hits include 9 to 5, Jolene, Here You Come Again, and I Will Always Love You. She was inducted into the Country Music and Rock and Roll Halls of Fame, won multiple Grammys, was awarded the National Medal of Arts, and received the Recording Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Parton had been struggling with her health, which forced her to cancel her residency in Las Vegas. She was 80 years old. This has been a Fox News alert. I'm Tom Rigotti.
It's Jessica Karingala and Kevin Bain here at Ford of Uniontown. Summer may be winding down, but the savings are still going strong at Ford of Uniontown. Drive home in a new F-150 with up to $9,000 off MSRP. And don't forget about great offers on Super Duties, like up to $7,000 in savings or more if you're a current Ford owner.
But Jess, didn't I hear that September will be about more than just saving money?
That's right. Starting September 1st, Ford of Uniontown is proud to kick off our Load Up for the Common Good food drive. We're asking our customers, friends in the community to load up on non-perishable food items and help us give back to local families in need.
And remember, we don't just sell vehicles. Our award-winning service department is ready to keep your Ford running with convenient online service appointments and free pickup and delivery.
That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's. 724-425-5980 or FordofUniontown.com.
Price excludes tax, title, license, and documentation fees, financing through Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify.
Friday night, join us as the high school football season kicks off here on WMBS. We'll have coverage of 2 games as the Laurel Highlands Mustangs host the Mount Pleasant Vikings, and the Uniontown Red Raiders will travel to Brownsville to take on the Falcons. Our Sprouse Insurance Group pregame show starts at 6. Both games kick off at 7. You can watch the Laurel Highlands Mount Pleasant game on Facebook and also listen to it on the radio. We'll have the Brownsville Uniontown game for you on the WMBS YouTube page. And stay tuned after the games wrap up for the Triple Live Scoreboard Show with Don Rebel. That's Friday night high school football here on WMBS.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
Uncover camouflaged health symptoms at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital during a free community health screening on Saturday, September 19th from 8 to 11 a.m. Receive screenings for your heart, circulation, bone health, blood pressure, blood glucose, and more, all at no cost. Plus, physicians will be on site to answer your questions. Pre-register today and receive a free WVU Medicine camouflage hat. Visit wvumedicine.org/Uniontown to register.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
On game day, we take you to every stadium.
Touchdown, Steelers!
Rob King, Max Starks, and Missy Matthews bring you all the excitement of Steelers football.
A strike from Rodgers, and the Steelers have taken the lead.
Only on the Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.
The Steelers are cooking right now.
The Steelers wrap up the preseason on the road against the Buffalo Bills Thursday night, pregame at 6 and kickoff at 7 on your Steelers station, WMPS.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving, they just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy.
I guess you would have to live under a rock to say, I've never heard that song before. How many times do you think that has played over the years?
A lot.
On various stations and being played today on the day that, sadly, Dolly Parton has passed away at age 80. That used to sound old. It doesn't anymore. Not at all.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And we keep playing songs as a tribute to her. And sports. I wonder if she had a connection to sports. Now that we're going to talk sports for
I'm
a bit,
sure.
I wonder if she owned like a minor league team
I'm sure
somewhere.
she watched a ball game before.
I guess so. Probably sang the national anthem at games at some point or
Sure.
another. But joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line on the afternoon drive show to talk to Doug and Nick. He's been a guest with us regularly lately, talking about the Pony League World Series. We won't bring that up. It's a sore spot, of course. What happened this year, sadly, thanks to Mother Nature. But talking about unnecessary things in sports, Lanny said he wanted to talk about this. He kept his word. We kept ours to him. So we're going to let Lanny rant a little bit because Nick and I were just talking last night.
Well, he seems happy now.
Yeah, he says extra inning games were always fun. Now that you have this, I don't know what the official name is, this make-believe runner on second base. I don't know what it's called.
Phantom.
But the fact that it went, Lanny, first off, welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. The fact that game went to 12 innings last night, that's unheard of anymore, to have a game go past 10 or 11 innings with a pretend runner on base. I think that's the one I find most offensive or dumb. We'll just use a better word. Is that an unnecessary thing in baseball?
Why? Let me ask you a question. Why do you think that's been instituted by baseball?
So you don't have 17-inning games, I guess, and I don't know why that's a problem. Those are sort of fun. I mean, if people aren't,
you know why it's a problem? It's because agents don't want their pitchers to pitch too much.
Right. And as you've said many, many times, the Players Association rules the roost in baseball. They're running the show, and I guess that's one of the reasons. But yeah, it just seems so silly. Your good friend Steve Blast despises that rule. He made that very clear when we've talked to him over the years. But is that would that be one of your top 5 of unnecessary things in sports? Or I'm sure you have a whole list.
Oh, I don't know. I put that in the category of where we are in terms of things that are happening in sports that are required now because of the, for example, the clock in baseball. That was necessary because games were going too long. Baseball games were lasting 3.5 hours, and they shouldn't last that long. But, you talk about extra inning games, particularly out in California. If you go back to the 1979 season, and the Pirates had a magical run out in California that year and played a 19-inning game against the San Diego Padres. And what was remarkable about it was that Dave Roberts, who was a pitcher for the Pirates, he had 3 occasions where the bases were loaded for the Padres, and he had 3 balls on the hitter and got out of all 3 jams, and the Pirates went on to win the game. And what was fun for me was that when I got back to Pittsburgh, I had so many people that shared with me. The game got over, probably like 4 o'clock in the morning in Pittsburgh, and a number of people that claimed that they were still watching the game, still listening to the game at the end. But it was a real pivotal game in the '79 World Series, or not in that World Series season.
My parents, we owned a camper back then, and we had a little black and white tube TV, probably about 8 inches across, and I stayed up watching that game that night, listening to Milo Hamilton make jokes about the paper boys are going to get up in the morning and say, what, the Bucks are still on? Because they did play till about 4 in the morning. Right. But I remember that game. I stayed up for it, sitting in the camper. My mother got up a couple times and said, are you still watching that game? I'm like, yeah, I can't go to bed, Mom. I got to watch this till the end. I think I was in 10th or 11th grade, I suppose.
An amazing memory.
Let me go back to your question, because we started this discussion because we were kidding about sideline reporters.
Race.
And
Came up.
It's been my experience. And when I do West Virginia baseball, we probably 60% of the games that we do, we have a sideline reporter. And my experience has been that there's a great deal of pressure on the individual that's been designated as the sideline reporter. Because whether the sideline reporter is of value or not is based on what the sideline reporter contributes to the broadcast. And there are those that do the sideline job, and they don't take that approach. They don't worry about what they get. I'm fortunate, or we're fortunate in West Virginia. One of our sideline reporters is Amanda Mazey. And Amanda is the wife of the former head coach of West Virginia, Randy Mazey. And so there are a good number of times where Amanda comes up with material which she may not identify that it came by way of conversations with her husband, but you can tell that she's learned a lot from being in the game, for being someone that has been, not only as a sportscaster, but as someone that really loves the game. And so that's a plus for us. But again, if for example there were, and I've told my students at Waynesburg this, I'd be pleased if somebody said, well, we want to hire you to do sideline for us for a broadcast. Well, there's a large number of things that you can do to prepare yourself to make sure that when you're called upon to contribute, that you've got good material. But it's not easy. It takes, you and I, the three of us have had discussions before. I strongly believe that 85% of the success of a broadcast is determined by preparation. And unfortunately, there's too many lazy people in broadcasting.
Yeah, you're right about that. And when you talk about preparation, what does that look like, Lanny? I mean, maybe not the topic we had specifically in mind, but for a play-by-play job or even a sideline job, what does that preparation look like? How do you start it? How long should it take? I'm curious. I'm aware of it, but you can explain it.
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I've told you that when I do the Pony League World Series, the Wednesday before Pony starts, or the Thursday before Pony starts, I go to the Pony offices because all the teams have to show up at the Pony offices to get their uniforms. And I sit there in the offices, and I get the young people to come by, and I interview them one at a time. And I get some great stories because that's what I believe, Pony's about young people and their stories and their parents and, from where did they travel and I'll give you an example. I heard a broadcast the other day. Jared Jones pitched the other day, West Coast national game. And the announcer talked about Jared in California and Los Angeles and going to the games with his grandfather. But he never told us about his grandfather. The announcers never talked about who this guy is or about the family. Never took the effort to find out more, about the names of the people that we're talking about. And there are stories there. What do you remember about some of those early games when you went to the ballpark at Dodger Stadium, et cetera? But it takes, I get that it's amusing because when I started as a pirate broadcaster, I fell in the same trap that everybody does, and that is standing around the batting cage. And yet I learned over the years, there's almost nothing to be learned around the batting cage. To get in-depth information from a player means that you have to make arrangements to be able to sit down with that player where he's not distracted doing something else and have a conversation with him. On the West Virginia batting cage, maybe there's a quick question I'll ask a player. But the real in-depth stuff that I need and that I believe adds to my broadcast come from making arrangements to sit down with players and talk to them. And admittedly, though, I'll tell you this as well. What I've experienced, because I'm very determined that when I do a West Virginia game, I want to make sure that I know a great deal about the visiting team because I know that our streaming broadcasts are going back to the visiting team's area, and that the parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles for those players are watching our stream. And I'll tell you this, though. I have had some coaches that have made it difficult for me to talk to players. And it's very frustrating because, I'll make arrangements with the sports information people, and I say, look, there's a half hour before the game. I don't have a lot of time with them, obviously. And can I talk to some of your players? And I had a coach this year that told his SID, we don't let him talk to the players. And that's frustrating.
Are they afraid they're going to say the wrong thing, or because
No. I think I'll tell you what it is. I think that too many announcers request interviews with baseball people and then ask dumb questions.
Right.
And I mean, here's what when I talk to a head coach on the other team, the first thing I ask him about is his wife and his kids and his father and how he got into coaching. And I can tell by the look on their face they're shocked because they're expecting me to ask the dumb questions like, well, why is your team playing so well this year? And who are some of the
exactly
they're expecting to get the typical media questions. And even when I talk to players, they're surprised when I go up to them and I say, tell me about your mom and dad, tell me about your brothers and sisters, okay? Because those are the stories I want to tell. But there are coaches that have been exposed to lazy media people, and they just basically shut us off because other people don't do their job right.
Yeah, and it's a waste of time, I would think, for their players to do silly interviews like that. Do you wish you had scored more runs in the game you lost? I've heard that question literally being asked.
That's a dumb one
of a reporter. So unnecessary things in sports. You've talked about too many graphics, too many statistics, launch angles of fly balls that are caught for an out, or the speed of a pitch on release, midway, and in the catcher's glove. It just are they trying to get the younger generation who loves to see things on a screen as opposed to people talking? No, because they can't talk. They have to text.
I think to a certain extent because they've heard a lot about analytics. First of all, let me tell you this: the TV producers may know what good television is, but they don't know what good baseball television is. And that's most unfortunate because there's a major difference there. And I mean, I keep using this analogy. Okay, if Doug, if you hit a home run 600 feet with nobody on base, it's a solo home run. If I hit a ball down the right field line with the bases loaded, it goes 320 feet, and it's a grand slam. Okay, which is the bigger deal? Okay, if Nick hits a line drive at the shortstop at 300 miles per hour, and it's an out, and Tim Foley bloops a ball into right center field and 2 runs score, which is the bigger deal in baseball? Right. And
exactly.
So, I mean, I watch a lot of golf on television, and they're the same thing. They do the same thing with how far the ball travels and all that stuff. But the announcers don't get hung up with that stuff. Okay, that they realize that and it's funny too because when I play golf at my country club, I'm amazed because there are guys at my country club that can hit the ball 300 yards, but they don't know where the ball's going. Okay, I hit the ball 165 yards and put it right down the middle of the fairway. So not that I'm better than they are. I'm not. They're better than I am, but it's somewhat amusing that speed, distance, etc. is believed by many people to be a bigger deal. And remember, in baseball, we always talk about the five tools. And so, in addition to power, which is what this seems to be embracing, is we have run, hit with power, field, throw, running the bases. Those are all things that are. And if you look at successful teams, by the way, you go back and look at the Pirate World Series championship teams, for example, they didn't have flashy shortstops. They had shortstops that made the plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like when you watch a baseball broadcast, who do you think they're trying to appeal to? I mean, the casual fan, the hardcore fan, who do you think likes these graphics and all these analytics? Because they must think somebody out there wants it because they keep doing it.
Well, I'm not sure. again, I'm not sure from my years being around TV people that they've even thought about it. I think they've fallen into the trap that the other networks are doing it, we got to do it. Okay? I mean, I remember once I asked a producer, I said, what is your goal on your broadcast? And he says, I want to throw fun at the old ballpark. Fun at the old ballpark. And I said to him, I said, well, but here's the problem. Is that I think fun at the old ballpark, first of all, is between the white lines, okay? But second of all, I mean, I'd rather see a father, sitting with his son, explaining the game or teaching a young person how to keep score. I don't want to see six jerks with their shirts off. That to me is and I never understood, by the way, why television, when it goes away from the field, why is it necessary to show me the fans that are outrageous? Why is that? Do you think that's what drags people to a telecast? Is because they're showing people that have dressed up for the game in idiotic costumes? That's by the way, what's interesting is my experience has been that when you watch golf on TV and you watch hockey on TV, there's almost very few crowd shots in either one of those telecasts. Very but I mean, what? I don't want to see the guy pounding on the glass in the corner of the rink because that I don't think they've thought about, and I have these discussions with our producers in West Virginia and our partner producers all the time, and they're all talented guys. Don't get me wrong; they're all talented guys. And they're all dedicated to quality broadcasting. But my argument also is that the story is between the lines. Okay, the story is, and so if you have 5 cameras, and one of your cameras is shooting things in the stands like dogs, then your 5th camera is not helping you with the game at all.
Or the drunk shirtless guy wearing a rainbow wig. Yeah, somehow that has taken over.
Got to give the people what they want.
A culture, I suppose. Crazy stuff. Laney Terry joining us.
No, but I mean, but Nick, you said give people what they want. I mean, who has decided that's what people want?
No, I don't want it. I was just saying some producers out there must think.
My argument being is that I don't think that's. I don't think that's what people want. I don't think that's at all.
You're being sarcastic.
That was us trying.
Yeah, he was trying to be sarcastic.
Yeah.
Well, but let me tell you one other thing, okay? We got time for this?
We do.
Of course.
We have about 5 more minutes. 5-6 more minutes.
You know what's happened in sports is that I've been with TV people, and after games, and they'll sit there and watch ESPN Sports Center, and they'll look to see if their shot is on the ESPN Sports Center.
Right.
Okay? And that's not what this is about. Okay? Yes, there are things that, for example, we had a shot this year at Pony League World Series of a fan making a catch sliding down a hill and it ended up at Sports Center. But that's not why we do our games. It's because we hope to be recognized on Sports Center. That's not why we do it.
Sure.
So, I don't, the cutesy phrases on Sports Center and all that other stuff. I mean, it's you've heard me, rail before about the fact that there's too many cliches in sports, okay? I tell my students at Waynesburg, when you do a football game, you're allowed to say, take it to the house once, okay? Once. Because it's a touchdown, okay? Call it what it is. It's a touchdown, okay? You can say move the chains once. It's a first down. Can't you just say it's a first down? So all this cutesy phraseology is cliche. I mean, I've said for a long time, cliches are the sign of a lazy broadcaster. You listen to a broadcast, if you hear a cliche, listen to how many cliches they give you. That's not the essence of what you're supposed to be giving your fans.
And they might be able to say those things once, but they can never say unbelievable. We've learned that from years of talking to Lanny Terry on the air.
Why is that a bad word to use? In all seriousness, Lanny, why is that a bad word to use on the air?
You've told us how awful thing. That's unbelievable.
Why is that?
You've always told us that's a horrible thing to say.
Because Nick, it's not. I submit to you, the next time you hear a broadcaster say unbelievable, ask yourself, was it really unbelievable?
I agree. No, I agree with you, but it's very overused. And But why that word specifically? I'm sure there's other words that you don't like either. Or
Yeah, momentum. I don't know what the word momentum means in sports. I mean, if my team is winning 21-0, and you score the next 14 points, you got momentum. So what? I beat you 56-10. Okay.
That's true.
I mean, you can talk about a turning point in the game, or this may be a turning point in the game, or you may look back and say this was at the point at which the team was able to develop confidence. But just to use the word momentum, like you believe that and sports people, sports people use momentum all the time, and I don't understand what it means. I don't understand what you're talking about.
The former athletes you've worked with, like Steve Blass and Bob Walk, do they believe in it, or that there is such a thing as momentum?
This momentum, use of momentum and unbelievables has really come into the forefront, I think, in the time since I've left the park. I'll give you another example. You know what? I'll tell you, I've been in baseball. I was in the major leagues for 33 years. Do you know in 33 years I never heard anybody in baseball refer to the pitcher's mound as the bump?
Really?
Never. Not once.
Another one I've heard
you say. What does that mean? What is that? And now I hear it all the time. On the bump. I was in 33 years. I never heard that term.
Another one that you went after, and I hear it all the time, ground rule double. It's a book rule double. It's a book rule double. That drives me nuts.
A ground rule double. You're
right.
Well,
Lanny?
but the reality is 95, 98% of the major league broadcasters are going to call it a ground rule double.
Right, and the only ground rule double I can think of is like the Ivy at Wrigley. That would be a ground rule double.
Well,
right?
yeah, and or if you're at a field and the ball goes under the fence, high school field and the ball goes under the fence, But that's not something the umpires and the managers talk around home plate. They don't get there at home plate and say, "Hey, by the way, if the ball bounces over the fence, it's a double."
Right.
That's not what they're talking about.
It's a book rule double.
Okay, but again, I'm 78 years old. I think I know some things. The biggest challenge I have teaching young people about sportscasting is to get them to understand that some of the stuff they're listening to is wrong, totally wrong, and they shouldn't fall into the trap of believing. I mean, when I hear sportscasters talk about team chemistry, what the heck is that?
Chemistry was something we were bad at in high school.
You mean to tell me because you believe that they're in the clubhouse singing "Kumbaya," that they're now a winning team because everybody likes everybody? I was in the big leagues for 33 years. I don't understand what are you talking about, team chemistry? But these things get thrown out there in sportscasting all the time, and some of it has to do with the guys that are announcing have nothing else to talk about.
Exactly.
I mean, and here's the other problem. Is that too many athletes that become announcers are never trained. There's nobody in the organization to teach them. I would submit to you that this is one of my complaints about radio, football on the radio. Okay, the play-by-play announcer, and I've had a discussion with Rob King about this, by the way. The play-by-play announcer on a radio football game has to dominate about 80% of the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
Because for me, as a radio listener, I need to know down and distance, score time and period constantly. And yet when I listen to radio broadcasts, I hear from the color analyst that they're doing the job like they believe they're on television. And you can't give me television color analysts on radio because I don't have a TV. Okay? And that's not what I need. I need down and distance, score time and period constantly. There's a guy named Paul Skeels who works Ohio State football. He is phenomenal because he is constantly telling you what you need to know, and his color analyst stays out of his way.
We're talking with Lanny Terry, and this is exactly why we enjoy having you on the show with us, Lanny. You tell us how you feel. You don't beat around the bush. I like conversations like this, and I got to tell you, I think I believe 95% of what you're saying when it comes to the crazy stuff in in sports.
Just 95, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's
I don't
pretty
want
good.
to. I don't
That's
want
pretty good
to make you
ratio.
arrogant, and that's why we've gone into the news during this interview. We'll even cut the news short to wrap up the conversation with you, Lanny. So thanks so much. As always, this is exactly what we were hoping for, to have a conversation with you about crazy, goofy stuff in sports. But we appreciate your taking
Well,
time.
you have your listeners listening. Okay, go tune in. Tune in the Steeler radio broadcast this week and listen to how many times you don't know the score or you don't know where the ball is. Okay, and I've had a discussion with Rob King about this when he took over for Bill Hillgrove. I told him, Rob, you have got to make a commitment to the basics of a football broadcast if you want to be any good.
I agree. I like that. It drives me crazy. What's the score? All right. Hey, thanks so much.
But again, I mean, down in distance, where the ball is. You tell me the ball's on the 30-yard line, but where there's two 30-yard lines. Which 30-yard line are you talking about?
Lanny, thanks so much. We really do
Oh, you're
appreciate
welcome.
it. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. We're going to Fox News in progress.
Fox News Channel says
the entertainment business will never have another Dolly Parton, and we miss her terribly. I'm heartbroken. I'm almost without words. And God, Dolly, we're sure going to miss you.
singer-songwriter Don McLean remembering meeting Dolly Parton for the first time on Fox's The Story.
Nobody knew who she was, and I thought, wow, she's not only beautiful, but she's so talented. And, who knew that she'd develop into this gigantic star.
Singer Sheryl Crow posting this: there's a hole in the universe and there will never be anyone like Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton dead at the age of 80. America's listening to Fox News.
Uncover camouflaged health symptoms at WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital during a free community health screening on Saturday, September 19th from 8 to 11 a.m. Receive screenings for your heart, circulation, bone health, blood pressure, blood glucose, and more, all at no cost. Plus, physicians will be on site to answer your questions. Pre-register today and receive a free WVU Medicine camouflage hat. Visit wvumedicine.org/Uniontown to register.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles, and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Canada is striking back in an escalating trade war with the United States. Fox's Jared Halpern with more from the White House.
Canadian officials say they're slapping 15 to 50% tariffs on American steel, dairy, seafood, clothing, and cosmetics, totaling about $20 billion worth of goods. The move is a response to President Trump hiking tariffs on dozens of Canadian products after trade talks stalled over the weekend.
And I believe strongly that once they finish this next round of negotiations, or whatever you want to call it, that America will certainly be the better for it, and that our farmers and ranchers will benefit the most.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins is defending President Trump's tariff agenda, arguing Canada has treated American dairy farmers unfairly.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement reporting a rise in arrests for the month of July. Fox's Gernal Scott has a look at some of the numbers.
The nearly 50,000 arrests reported by ICE last month is said to be the highest number reported since President Trump began his second term in January 2025. ICE recorded 43,000 arrests in June, meaning July's numbers were about 15% better. ICE began this year with high-profile enforcement operations in Minnesota and other states. While the agency says it has toned down that kind of presence, they say its mass deportation effort continues to be effective, in spite of public protests in many cities against agents being there. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
And the Trump administration says the Kennedy Center may need to be torn down if the president's name is not allowed on the building. The Kennedy Center's board argues without prominent recognition of President Trump, donors will not contribute to the Performing Arts Center and will fall into a financial and structural death spiral. This argument made in a court filing is part of a case that forced the removal of President Trump's name from the building's facade. In New York City, I'm John Saucier, and this is Fox News.
And this is your local station, WMPS. The Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's. They're on West Main Street. Call them today for specials, 724-437-2061. Your local station, WMPS, right now outside of our Davis & Davis studios at 7:05 on a Tuesday evening, 76, went up to 78 today. The low this evening, 59, sunny Wednesday at 83, nice sunny skies and temperatures in the 80s. The rest of the week going through the last few days of August. Thursday, sunny and 83, up to 82 with sun Friday. For the weekend, Saturday, plenty of sunshine, 83, then really warming up, 87 Sunday, and Monday, sunny and 91. Again, 76 right now. That weather update brought to you by Maloney's. They're on West Main Street. Phone them at 724-437-2061 for Maloney's on West Main Street. This is your local station, Fayette's first and finest, 590 and 101.1 WMPS. More of the afternoon drive show with Doug Saltzman on until 9 tonight. Bucko baseball at 9:15. They're out in San Diego for the second game of their three-game series. And Paul Skeens on the mound this evening for Pittsburgh. This is WMPS. Good evening.
As loved ones age, it's important to make sure that they're getting the care and attention that they need. Hillside Manor Personal Care Home aims to make your loved ones as comfortable as possible while still receiving superior care. 4 specialized levels of care and the services of an on-site certified registered nurse practitioner means that care is personalized on an individual level. At the same time, residents can enjoy a hospitable environment. Themed after a small town, the interior of Hillside Manor features a 50s-style diner, movie theater, and common areas. High-priority safety and security measures ensure the safety and protection of all residents and staff members 24 hours a day, and friends and family are encouraged to make frequent visits. If you're looking for a clean, friendly, and safe place for your loved ones, look no further. Hillside Manor Personal Care Home is ready to meet your needs. Call 724-439-2273 for more information. They look forward to meeting you.
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
Thank you to each of you who voted for Economy Furnace Company for Best in Fayette. Your trust and support means so much. Winners will be announced October 13th. It's an honor to serve this amazing community. Your support of Economy Furnace Company is an investment in your neighbors and your town. We're proud to partner with Amana, one of the most trusted names in the HVAC industry, to bring you American-made quality you can count on. Summer is the perfect time to schedule a clean and tune-up on your air conditioner. Regular maintenance keeps your system running efficiently, lowers energy bills, and prevents costly breakdowns. If your system does break down, Economy will get you cool again fast. Don't wait until your AC stops working. Call Economy Furnace Company at 724-438-4575 to schedule your summer tune-up and keep your family cool and comfortable in the summer heat.
For economy, price, and quality service, call Economy Furnace.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future health care expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, or Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075.
Are you raising the child of a loved one? You're not alone. Like many others, you've stepped up to raise the child of a friend or family member, allowing them to live, grow, and thrive among people they know. While fulfilling, it can also be challenging. But there is support. PA Kin Connector helps kinship caregivers just like you by providing connections to resources, services, training, and support groups. Don't navigate the journey alone.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
You can always listen to the interviews we do here on the Afternoon Drive Show, and we really do a variety of them. You can always check them out of course, after the show on the WMBS Facebook page. When's that come about, Nick? A couple hours after the show, it's available?
It goes up immediately.
Oh, it goes up
As soon
immediately.
as we hit the stop button.
Well, there you go.
The end live video button.
I stand corrected and embarrassed.
Never.
I forgot about this until we were talking about sideline reporters. And
Did you unplug that, by the way? I saw you got coffee.
I got coffee from upstairs. Right?
Please, God, unplug that
I'm only
maker.
half done with the 4-hour show. I needed some coffee.
Nice.
I forgot about this. Former NFL sideline reporter Carissa Thompson admitted to fabricating halftime reports and inventing generic coach quotes when she was unable to reach a coach in time. Remember
That's
that?
Great. I do remember that story.
And they were great quotes. She did a nice job
Yeah.
just making. She said, let's see if I find this quote here. It was a great one. She was on, some podcast, of course. That's where the whole world is now being reported. And she said, I would make up a report sometimes because A, the reporter, the coach wouldn't come out at halftime, or B, it was just too late.
Well, I love the honesty. I don't think anyone was shocked by that. I'm sure, I assume that was going on, and really it shows that job's not that important. I mean, the ones who do it well do a good job at it, and it's admirable work, but again, it's not vital to your enjoyment of the game always.
And they're not always live.
Right.
They'll talk to somebody coming out. There might be at a commercial break, and the coach will give you 10 seconds.
Yeah, and they tape it.
Then you have to tape it, or you just repeat what they said, like she did.
Right, exactly.
But yeah,
But I wasn't shocked by that. I just assumed that was going on, not all the time, but it didn't shock me that a sideline reporter would make something up because the coach wasn't available, or the coach was Bill Belichick and was just being a jerk. I'd use a stronger word, but we're on public airwaves.
Right. It's interesting when Lanny talked about learning about someone's family, or learning about, and the first thing he does is ask kids about their family. When you think about the greatest baseball announcer of all time, he had all kind of information about the players.
Vin Scully, yes.
Scully had no color commentator. I mean,
no.
he did it on his own, and by almost every list imaginable or professional in that business, they think Scully was the best.
Yeah, he was remarkable and great on the air. A storyteller, not just a baseball announcer, and would really know his subject. And yeah, he was wonderful, well admired, well regarded.
So there's an announcer in Lanny Fratteri who said they don't say the score enough.
Exactly. On radio, they don't. And
There was a comedian one time said his dad would think a great announcer in the game was, okay, let's talk about baseball here. The score's 2-0. One team has 2, the other team has 0. That's 2 and 0. If you added 1 and 1, you'd have 2. And his dad would say, man, that's a hell of an announcer.
Right. I mean, that's what people listen for generally, but you want to know the score.
Especially you go to a commercial and come back from a commercial. All the information should be there. Score, inning, who's up.
And you should always give the inning with the score. I agree, yeah.
This
And
is-
football's tough. He mentioned football on the radio. There's a lot of information to get out, down, distance, but also you have to keep in mind to give that score and quarter update and how many minutes are left in a quarter. These are not minor things. So and it's hard to get it all out, but certainly you have to make an effort. So, yeah, a lot of things to consider. It's not just, you don't just jump in the booth and start announcing a game. As Lanny points out, preparation is what matters. So.
Yeah. No, you're right. And anybody can do it, but that doesn't mean they can do it well.
Exactly. Yes. It's like anything else in life.
Who can? We used to sit in a baseball game. We were in junior high or high school at a Pirate game, and there'd be 6 of us together, and we would announce the entire game.
I'm sure the people sitting around you love that.
They must have been ready to will you get these idiots out of here?
Right.
If
Exactly.
I wanted to listen to the game, I'd have stayed home.
Right. Brought the radio.
And we would announce the game sitting
Did you
there.
fold up the program and pretend it was a microphone?
Yeah, I think, or my thumb. I use my thumb as
that's
a
great.
microphone.
There you go.
I think that's how it. I think that's how it was. So again, I want to thank Lanny Fratteri. Good conversation with him, and I apologize. We went into the news. You should have seen Nick yelling at me over there to get to the newscast. And of course, the opening news naturally was the death of Dolly Parton. She recently gave an update and things, and I think most people thought, okay, good. She's recovering. It's just going to take some time. She was 80, but very sad. No doubt in the news, you've heard reported here the tragedy of a Penn West, California co-ed being murdered, allegedly by her boyfriend. And it brings up that topic That is not an easy one to talk about. It's a very serious topic here on the Afternoon Drive Show, and talk about the issues related to domestic violence. And joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line on the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show, the CEO of Domestic Violence Services of Southwestern Pennsylvania, Megan Hegedus. Megan, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you? Oh, did we lose her? Megan, are you with us?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. We didn't have the pause
I'm
for
here.
some reason. That was a mistake on our end. My apologies.
Oh, no
Well,
worries.
we appreciate your joining us today. This story out of Penn West Cal, a tragedy, the death of Caroline Hanks, allegedly at the hands of her boyfriend, it makes so many people think, what would bring someone to kill somebody and to stab them? They always say a stabbing is the most personal of the murders, and it's almost always by someone that the victim knows. In some cases, obviously there's telltale signs of what might happen. We always hear the stories if you have your significant other wants to control what you do, wants to know where you are, wants to control your money. But you don't often think of domestic violence of being a college freshman or a college sophomore. But frankly, it can happen at any stage of any age, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah. Tell us an example here. This is there was a boyfriend. I don't know how long they were together. I'm sure that was in the news. But what would bring to this sort of thing? I guess somebody mentioned that they were having a discussion about ending the relationship. Is there a way to tell that if I end this relationship, I shouldn't just do it alone with my partner? I should have someone with me when it happens? I mean, naturally, those are the type of conversations most people would think should be done privately. But I guess maybe not always if you think something could happen.
Sure, and I want to be clear, I can't really speak to the specific dynamics
I
of any
understand.
individual relationship, but it is true that when you're ending a relationship that's abusive or trying to end a relationship that's abusive, it is the most dangerous time. After someone is left, things start to look a little bit different, and their safety is in jeopardy more so than it may have been while they were still in the relationship. But that's why it's important that we learn what warning signs are, and that folks know that we're available to them for support and help if they need it.
Yeah, wasn't asking you to comment on this specific case, but just use it.
No, I understand.
Such as an example of the worst, absolute worst case scenario. In this case, a young girl who I think 19 years old loses her life over something like this.
Right.
And it's so foreign to most people to think that someone would take that step. To go that far and to be that upset and to be that angry to the point, and this story gives an example of a mother coming allegedly coming to the aid of the murderer. It's most people can't even comprehend what this would be like.
No.
And I think that's why most people may not think that it could be possible. Here I am in a relationship with somebody. I'm using this just as an example. I would never think, oh wait, how could that happen to me? That would never happen. And as tragic as this is, somehow it can be a learning option or opportunity for some people to think, even if you don't think it could happen, it can.
Correct. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence in their lifetimes. And it doesn't always reach the point to where there's physical abuse. There are lots of other types of abuse. And again, if you know what you're looking for early on, because it can be disguised, people who choose to abuse can be pretty manipulative. And so what might present originally as just, I'm worried about you, I'm concerned about you, is really efforts to exert power and control.
Yeah. And the type of steps that someone can take, obviously there's nothing to be ashamed of. And I think some people are. They think, oh, it's my fault that he's mad at me, or it's my fault that she's mad at me. In many cases, it's something perhaps you're being told. Like, it's your fault, not my fault that I hit you. As ridiculous as that sounds.
Correct. And early on, again, it's all about the degree of manipulation that often takes place. So, someone can exert some jealousy by making it sound like they're just really concerned. Like, I don't like that you're going out on this business dinner with some colleagues because I don't know who they are, and it's not you I don't trust, it's them. But really, it's about controlling where they go and who they're with.
And that's one thing you hear all the time, that somebody controlling their lives. Where are you at any given moment? I need to know where you are. Or when you're in a marriage or living together, controlling their money. If you don't have money, you can't go places. You can't do what you want on your own. And if someone is constantly monitoring your checking account or what your credit cards are being used for, again, that can be disguised as, oh, I'm an expert at money management, so let me always look at your credit card statement.
Right.
And that sounds helpful when you first think of it, but in fact, it could be one of those unknowing ways of controlling someone.
Correct. And we see a lot more of that these days with digital and technology use for maintaining power and control. Things like excessive texting or expecting responses at times when they know their partner is really not able to answer. Maybe they're at work or if they're in school or something like that. Getting passwords and using location tracking, things like that. But again, might be presented initially as, I'm just worried about you, but it's really, no, I want to know where you are all of the time and who you're with and what you're doing.
Yeah. So if you could pick one, and by the way, folks, we were talking with Megan Hegedus. She is CEO of Domestic Violence Services of Southwestern Pennsylvania. And is there like an early sign, like, okay, that right there, now you have to start thinking, is there an issue here because he did this, or I keep saying he, or she did this? Is there like an initial one, like, okay, that's now when you should start thinking about whether there's an issue? Is there one or one or two or three or four things you should look for initially that could be a sign of worse things to come? Or is it just not, hey, you can't just rank it like that?
You're right. You can't just rank it like that, but there are some pretty common things. And I want to be clear, every relationship looks a little bit different. So you might see one or more behaviors in one relationship that I'll describe where you might see a lot more in a different relationship. But the bottom line is that it's about power and control. So if someone is exerting power and control over you, that's when you know that you need to get help. And I also want to, before I dive into those signs, make sure people know abusive behavior is a choice and it's a learned behavior. So the onus for that abuse is solely on the person who's choosing that behavior. But some early things to look for are making their partner feel badly about things that they would otherwise be proud of. So if they're attractive, maybe saying, that outfit makes you look fat, or why you don't look all that great today. If they're intelligent or maybe have a good job or an impressive title, saying like, you think you're better than everybody else, or you cheated to get to where you are, things like that. So things where you start to doubt your self-worth, your self-esteem starts to be impacted. And you start to feel just a little bit differently about yourself. And then sometimes they'll end that with, I'm just kidding. You take things too seriously. You need to relax. So it's like taking away your right to feel hurt or upset by what they're saying.
Before I forget, I want to ask, of course, about your organization, Domestic Violence Services of Southwestern PA. The name itself shows what you do, providing services. What is available for folks, and what does it cost, and how can people get a hold of you? Where should they get information? Let's go in that direction.
Sure. So we serve Washington, Greene, and Fayette counties. We have a lot of different services because, again, every person's needs are different. So we have a 24/7 helpline. We have 2 safe houses, one in Washington and one in Uniontown. We do legal advocacy, so anyone in those 3 counties who needs protection from abuse order during regular business hours is doing that through our offices. We have therapists on staff, we have a housing program, and then we also are doing prevention and education in the communities. And in terms of cost, everything is free and everything is completely confidential.
Yeah, it's not as if there's a big sign in front of your buildings. That's just,
No,
some people say.
no, there's
"Well,
not.
isn't he going to come find me, or isn't she going to come find me?" And they are secure, and there is security there. And I know one thing we learned, and our family has donated to such shelters because sometimes a person will show up with a child, literally with the clothes they have on their back. And the one thing they might want when they get there is a nice blanket or a little toy for their child to have. And those are the types of things that are provided at a facility like yours, right? There are homey touches. So when you get there, you're not just sitting in a cell or something so generic. The idea is to make you feel comfortable the moment you walk through the door, correct?
Our safe houses are literally houses, and so we do try to make them as homey as we possibly can. There's a living room and a kitchen, just like you would find in any other home, and we do our best to give people their own private spaces. And like I said, domestic violence impacts anyone regardless of gender, so we help anyone who needs our services, regardless of gender, age, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we give them everything that they need when they come in.
Yeah, I was so shocked a few years ago when a law was passed in Pennsylvania related to strangulation, and that was one of those things you would think, my God, there must have been already a law about that, but in fact, it was very weak because it didn't show, physical injury. Now a physical injury is not required for conviction. It used to be, had to be a physical injury related to someone choking another person as an intimidation factor.
Right.
But when sometimes you think, my gosh, did that not exist before? And I know organizations like yours and the others that you partner with around the state were pushing to have that done so that those would go beyond just the standard misdemeanor counts. They can go up to first-degree felony at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah, and again, that's one of those things you just assume must be a law, and it wasn't. But your work there goes well beyond just advocating for individuals, but advocating for efforts as a whole. Correct?
That is correct. Yes. And that was an important law to pass. Strangulation is really an extreme form of physical abuse, and it's very dangerous for the person who is experiencing it. So, yeah, it's important that we're able to address it in the courts.
Yeah, it's weird to think that it was not classified as a felony before. I should say
I know.
funny. It was shocking, I should say, that it wasn't classified as a felony before. As we continue this discussion about what people should look for, where should someone go first? Go to a trusted family member or a friend? In many cases, you go to a family member and they say, oh, don't worry about that because it may have happened in their family before. And sadly, they might just think that's part of a relationship, I suppose, correct?
That could be. And sometimes family and friends don't know what to do or say. They're not sure how to help. And so the one thing not to do is to try to get that person to end the relationship. The best thing to do is to point out that they don't deserve what they are seeing happening to them and that they have support. And ideally, they give them our information because we can talk to people who are experiencing domestic violence about what they're going through and what they want to do next because not everyone's ready to leave when they call us. And it's not our place to tell people what they should or shouldn't do. Survivors tell us, here's where I am and here's what I need, and our job is to help them.
Now, you broke up there for a moment when you said the first thing someone, a family member or friend, should not say, leave this person?
Correct.
Okay.
They should not.
Now, that sounds counterintuitive. Now, why should they tell them not to leave them? Explain.
Well, first of all, when someone's in an abusive relationship, they're already being told all of the things they can and cannot or should not do. So they don't need one more person in their life telling them what they should do. Also, as I said earlier, when you leave a relationship that's abusive, that's the most dangerous time. So when we're working with people who want to leave an abusive relationship, we're safety planning with them. We're talking to them about what's happened to them, and what they need to do or might want to think about doing to make sure that they leave in the safest way possible.
Yeah. That's why we have experts like you on the air, Megan, to tell us things like that. I would not have thought of that step about why that's not the best thing to do right away. I never would have even considered that would be something that folks should not do at that point, but help them in other ways. If folks want to get more information, your website, phone numbers, how do they get a hold of your group?
They can call our 24/7 helpline, and that's not just for survivors, that's for family and friends too. So if you want to talk to us about how to help your loved one, anyone can call this number. It's 1-800-791-4000. And we are on social media. Our handle is @PeaceFromDV, but you can look for DVSSP and we will pop up.
And again, that's, make sure you get those letters right. DVS, you said DVS SWP?
DVSSP.
Gotcha. There we go. And of course, that's short for Domestic Violence Services of Southwestern PA. Google that as well, and no doubt you'll find it. Again, 800-791-4000. Megan, thank you very much. We appreciate your taking time to talk about this topic. You don't have a job where you're working. You have really a vocation. What you're
Correct.
doing, you and your colleagues there. This is not a 9-to-5 job by any means, and we really do appreciate what you and all your coworkers do there, the folks that work with you every day. Thanks so much, Megan. Have a good evening.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
You're welcome. Folks, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, again, changing the topic. How about this? We're going to talk about Secret Service efforts to keep the president safe. How about that? You heard this topic came up a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago. I forget when it was now. When they put President Trump on Air Force One, took him out a back door, put him in a catering truck. I mean, this is right out of a movie, and put him on another plane. And most people on the original Air Force One didn't know it was happening because they were told to lower the blinds in the airplane. And that's a common thing. I was on Air Force One once, and they said, please close the blinds.
You were on Air Force One. What a life you've had, Doug. What happened was my question. What happened?
Here I am.
Now you're working with me.
Oh, come
How
on.
do you drop like that? You drop like a rock.
I'm having fun.
Oh, this is fun. Except when you were late for the news and your producer freaks out.
Oh, my gosh. I never saw Nick so mad, folks. I wish the camera had been on him.
Oh, no, I wasn't mad. I was mad that someone might be mad, and we all know who the someone is.
No, it's all on me. That was my fault.
Lanny was on a roll.
So
we couldn't
He was
stop
rolling.
him. He was
rolling. So, again, Jeff James, a retired Secret Service agent, is going to join us coming up here to talk about that. And then we're here during the 8 o'clock hour, too. Good heavens.
When does it end? 9.
We're going to be on a long time tonight. Stick around. Thanks for listening.
It's Jessica Karingala and Kevin Bain here at Ford of Uniontown. Summer may be winding down, but the savings are still going strong at Ford of Uniontown. Drive home in a new F-150 with up to $9,000 off MSRP. And don't forget about great offers on Super Duties, like up to $7,000 in savings or more if you're a current Ford owner.
But Jess, didn't I hear that September will be about more than just saving money?
That's right. Starting September 1st, Ford of Uniontown is proud to kick off our Load Up for the Common Good food drive. We're asking our customers, friends, in the community to load up on non-perishable food items and help us give back to local families in need.
And remember, we don't just sell vehicles. Our award-winning service department is ready to keep your Ford running with convenient online service appointments and free pickup and delivery.
That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's. 724-425-5980 or fordofuniontown.com.
Price excludes tax, title, license, and documentation fees, financing through Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
Are you raising the child of a loved one? You're not alone. Like many others, you've stepped up to raise the child of a friend or family member, allowing them to live, grow, and thrive among people they know. While fulfilling, it can also be challenging. But there is support. PA Kin Connector helps kinship caregivers just like you by providing connections to resources, services, training, and support groups. Don't navigate the journey alone.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Businesses come in all shapes and sizes. Integrity doesn't. For more than a century, the Better Business Bureau has set the standards for how businesses should operate honestly and ethically. So when you're looking for a business you can trust, check to see who's BBB accredited and who isn't. Always choose the Better Business. Look for the BBB seal because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
For 35 years, Fay Penn Economic Development Council has been committed to its mission of growing Fayette County's economy and helping to bring jobs to the area. Whether you're a startup, existing, or new business in Fayette County, Fay Penn's lending team can work with you to decide if the Fay Penn Loan Fund suits your business's needs. Fay Penn's Loan Fund offers loans starting at $10,000, pending qualifications. Visit faypenn.org to learn more about financing opportunities for your business and to complete a pre-application form.
WMBS.
Back through the years, I go wandering once again. Back to the seasons of my youth. I recall a box
We've been
of
going to
rags
and from commercial breaks and news breaks today with songs from Dolly Parton, who sadly died today of an illness. She really kept to herself, I suppose. There have been some updates of how she was doing. This Coat of Many Colors song has an interesting backstory to it. That she grew up, she was the fourth of 12 kids. They lived in a 2-room house, at one point a 4-room house, and her mother literally made her a coat made of splotches of material.
Wow.
So it looked like patchwork, and that was her coat of many colors.
Is that right?
Yes.
And you knew the story. You weren't looking at anything.
No, I'm not looking at anything. I remember.
Doug is Dolly Parton's biographer.
Yeah. I've read multiple biographers of Dolly Parton, including her autobiography. Just a fascinating person, despite, the way she looks and all that stuff. Just an amazing story.
Sure.
Wrote 3,000 songs, most of which never made it, but many did. And for everybody from country stars to Tina Turner to Miley Cyrus, who is her, I guess, unofficial goddaughter, they call her. But yeah, it's sort of fascinating. Not sort of, really a fascinating woman. If you have a chance to read stories about her, be on Wikipedia. It really is worth trying. I want to thank our previous guest for joining us, Megan Hegedus, CEO of Domestic Violence Services of Southwestern PA. Google that, you'll get the information. And their hotline number, 800-791-4000. We were scheduled to talk to our next guest last week. Something came up. He's in the world of security, and when you're overseeing a security staff or a police staff, at times things come up. And obviously, we're not going to talk about it, but it's we certainly understandable that he wasn't able to join us last week. But joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line on the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show, retired U.S. Secret Service agent Jeff James. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us today, sir. How are you?
Good, Doug. Thank you. I will say that I'm humbled and flattered to have been brought into my segment by Dolly Parton, who was, like you said, I can't say any better than you did. Just a remarkable person, and another loss. And I mentioned this story to you earlier. If I could just tell it to your audience quickly. So I work in a high school now. I run the security for one of the local schools in the Pittsburgh area, north of Pittsburgh. And one of the teachers was telling me that when she said to her class, "Oh my gosh, Dolly Parton died," that one of the girls in her class stood up and started singing Jolene. So even 16-year-old kids knew her music. That's quite an impact, I'll tell you. Yeah. For an 80-year-old woman,
And she was 80 years old. Naturally, she didn't look it, and she was more than happy to say why she didn't look 80. She had a lot of work done. But at the same time, she certainly didn't act 80. She was always so happy and fun and goofy, and people were making fun of her dimensions. She played along. Yeah, she was really fascinating. But yeah, 16-year-old girl knowing the song Jolene, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's good reach.
Yeah,
So.
it's fascinating stuff. What we wanted to talk to you about, of course, was and we've teased it a few times over the last couple of weeks. We reported here, it made national news. At times, in national newscasts come out, oh, this has never happened before. This is unprecedented. It has happened before, but it certainly is unique that President Trump or any president was put on Air Force One, and suddenly that plane was no longer Air Force One because the president got off that plane, and in this case, went out a back door, got in a catering truck. I mean, this is something out of a movie of the week type scenario, and got on another plane, and suddenly that other plane became Air Force One because whatever plane the president's on is Air Force One. Did that, in fact, happen in this case? Did they refer to this other plane as Air Force One at that point?
They will, yeah. That would be the, I would think that moniker would not apply until they were talking to friendly air traffic control. But once they got out of, what would be considered hostile airspace, which with where they were in Turkey, there were, two borders there that house hostile airspace. They may have used a different moniker, but yeah, once they're talking to friendly air traffic control, the call sign is Air Force One.
Yeah, I mean, the Secret Service does use things like this. I mean, at one point, when President George W. Bush was president, he snuck away from his home in Texas and got into a plane into a car with Condoleezza Rice as if it was just two staffers or two, and suddenly he showed up across the ocean. And that was sort of fascinating too. I don't know if you were part of that back then, but it was an amazing story.
Well, I'll tell you, I was part of that. So it happened twice, and I was part of it on both ends. And this is how secret we keep it. So I'll tell you the short one first. Was that one time the president did that? I was part of a group of 5 people that were secreted into Iraq to do the advanced work at the base where the president was showing up, and even the counterparts we worked with on the base, we just told them, well, the Secretary of Defense is coming, but they were running short of people, and they just turned to us and said, hey, Secret Service, can you guys go over and do the advance for us? So until Air Force One was within visual range, nobody knew the president was coming. So I was on that end of it, of knowing everything that was going on. But there was another time when we were down the president's ranch, and it was the time you're referring to when he snuck away in the car with Dr. Rice. And they didn't even tell us. I was working the midnight shift. They didn't even tell us. We worked the rest of that shift pushing posts around the ranch house with the assumption that the president was in there sleeping, never knowing he left. So when the folks who were left on Air Force One are saying, well, the press should have been told and we should have been told, look, we didn't even tell our own people. That's how secret and tactically secret we needed to be about things like this, because the old loose lips sink ships is absolutely true.
I remember it reminds me of a skit that they did on Saturday Night Live during that
Okay.
Gulf War, where they were interviewing. There was a briefing by whoever was acting as Secretary of Defense, and those actors who were playing members of the media said, "Is there any absolute secret information that you don't want the enemy to find out that you can share with us?" And they were mocking their own people, but it's not that far from the truth that they were going about it that way. I think the one you're talking about, the one I mentioned, the one you just described too, was that when he showed up for Thanksgiving, and I remember somebody said, we have a special document that needs read here. I don't know who else around here it would be more important to actually read this, and out walks the President of the United States.
And I'll tell you, the time I went over, it was when he went to Al-Assad, the base in Al-Assad, Iraq, and it was early September of 2007, I believe, and it was a thrill. It really was, and it was humbling and thrilling to be part of that, because it's no small feat taking a president into a war zone. So that small group of us that did it, we were, I hope it doesn't sound cheesy, but we were real proud of that mission and proud that it went off without a hitch. But seeing all those troops, the way they lit up when he walked into the room, I mean, like looking at each other like holy crap, and like punching each other and being like, hey, that's the president. And it was just a really, really cool experience. And again, something I'm humbled and glad I was part of.
As they were flying over there, I remember there was a pilot in another plane who went on the radio saying, "I swear I just saw Air Force One."
Right.
And someone said, "Keep your mouth shut."
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
But these, I would tell you too, that these secret things we do aren't unusual at all. And I'll tell you, you being in the Pittsburgh area, Pittsburgh is one of the places where we did, our shell game, because the tunnels gave us the ability to do it. So whether we were coming from the airport or coming from east of the city, we would go into the tunnels with the motorcade in a certain configuration. And when we were in the tunnels, we would move the cars around and come out in a different configuration. So if there was a spotter at one end of the tunnel that would say to his buddy, hey, he's in, because we always took two identical limousines.
Right.
He's in the first limousine. By the time we would come out of there, we'd be in a different limousine. So his buddy at the other end of the tunnel with the rocket launcher is going to, hopefully shoot at the wrong car.
I would say.
So this.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
I was going to say this idea of the, using false motorcades and moving motorcades around and switching planes. It's not something that happens a lot, but it's never something that's off the table. And the other part is it's not a decision that the Secret Service makes in a vacuum. We work so closely with the military to do stuff like this, and and with the White House staff to say, hey, this is what we believe. This is the intelligence that we're getting, that we believe a move like this is necessary. And then everybody works together to make it happen.
There was such a fuss made in the media about the fact that people were asked to close the window blinds on Air Force One. I've been lucky enough to fly on Air Force One, and we were told to close the blinds. And,
right.
And I remember seeing a documentary once following the Kennedy assassination where they closed the blinds when Johnson became president. And closing the blinds should not have been that big of a news story. That's what happens. And the motorcade, I've been in the presidential motorcade, and one of the goofier stories where they always found people to volunteer to drive vans. There's always these white vans, and they had take media and other people. And so generally they were some younger people, and this poor girl were flying down the Parkway West from the airport doing, 85, whatever we're doing. And this poor young woman, who I think was 19 or 20, starts to panic. She's never driven that fast in her life. She's driving this 16-passenger van, and I'm sitting up in the front. We have media in it. And suddenly she, in tears, says, I have to pull over. I can't drive this fast. And the media's like, no, we're not getting out of this motorcade. Now, we never released this information at the time, but literally I said, okay, you're going to put this in cruise control. We're switching seats while we're driving down the Parkway at 85 miles per hour.
Good move.
We're not pulling over. And I said, and the media is not going to ever repeat this, are you guys? And so we literally switched seats. And here's another member of the media, like patting this girl on the back, saying, don't worry about it. You did fine. And we literally switched seats without slowing down. And I'm sure that's not the first time something like that happened. But I remember flying down the road, put it in cruise control. Now we're going to switch seats. Move over. I'm taking over. And off we went. I remember the media saying, no, we're not stopping. They were going to, once you leave a motorcade, you're done. You're not sneaking back in it. But just the amount of coordination it takes for things like that. So back to the original story here. This idea of him going into Air Force One, doing the classic wave from the top of the steps, then going out a caterer's door, and everybody's seen those catering trucks that have been to an airport, and then get into the catering truck. It's classic. Now, did he ride up front? Was he in the back? That sort of thing. You wonder what it would have been. But it is something out of a movie, for heaven's sakes. When it first came out, it's one of those stories like, oh, come on, another conspiracy. But it was classic. And I think the media was mad just because they pulled it off without them knowing it, for heaven's sakes.
And it's funny because the two things I heard from the media that kind of, I won't say made me laugh, but made me kind of say that maybe they need a reality check was when, again, I mentioned earlier, they said that they weren't told. And it's like, hey, you're not need to know. Like, I'm not, look, the press does a great job. The White House press corps is top notch. Even the folks we add into each visit, they all are very respectful and do a great job, and they do a necessary job. So this isn't disparaging, but truthfully, you didn't need to know what the plan was. And the other part of it is when they said, well, we feel like that put us in unnecessary danger because now we're on the plane that they might shoot down. And it's like, look, if you're going to put yourself in that bubble, if you want to stand next to the target, there's an acceptable risk there you're going to have to take. It's like putting your hand over a dartboard, right? Like if you're going to stand next to the person everyone wants to assassinate or be in that bubble, it is an acceptable risk. So I don't know why all of a sudden the acceptable risk became such a big deal when what we saw happen a couple of years ago in Butler, 26 months ago in Butler now.
And you were part of that task force that investigated it, correct?
I was, yeah. We saw, unfortunately, one man lose his life and 2 other people get injured, and the president get injured because they were in that bubble. So it's always a risk you take when you're gonna walk into that and stand under that umbrella.
Yeah, I worked for the U.S. Senate. I was director of U.S. Senator Arlen Specter's office for many, many years. And, a senator, unless you're a member of leadership, does not walk around with security. But we certainly kept our eyes open as to what was going on.
Oh, sure.
We were doing things. And if you look like, you kept your suit coat buttoned. And I remember one time we went to a Pirate game of all simple things. And the guy came up to me and said, how many weapons do you carry when you're with the senator?
Oh, nice.
And I said, I can't tell you that information. And I just walked away. Now, I did not carry a weapon.
Perfect answer.
Yeah, I just told him that. So get the idea, buddy. Yeah. But we were doing an outdoor news conference with Tom Murphy. Very hot day. This was open. People were walking around, and suddenly a guy showed up with a very heavy overcoat on. And it looked very strange on an 85-degree day. And of course, the mayor has security. And I said, that guy looks a little odd over there. Isn't it awfully hot to be wearing an overcoat buttoned up like that? And they went over and talked to him and took him away. I don't ever know what became of that, but it was just one of those things you keep your eyes open as to what might seem odd, and you just never know. We were talking with former.
I'm sorry.
I want to make sure I say retired, not former. Retired U.S. Secret Service agent Jeff James here on the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition, talking about what the Secret Service did with the president that day. It was unusual, but not unprecedented, right?
Right. Yeah. Not even close. And I don't mean to take us off topic, but what you just mentioned about being with Senator Specter, the level of political violence now, everything from magisterial judges all the way up to the president, the numbers, I kind of keep my pulse in the intelligence community on my finger, on the pulse of the intelligence community. I still have some contacts, but, every political position now, or even appointed positions, like the number of threats these people are getting is just, it's really gotten, it's really frightening. And I wouldn't blame any elected official that who wasn't granted protection, who wouldn't even want to go out of pocket and say, it might be worth it to pay to have, somebody sit out front of the house or, something like that. And it's really gotten to a point that I never thought we'd get to with political violence. It's a little bit scary.
Arlen Specter did town hall meetings in counties, every county in Pennsylvania, all the time. And we always had at the front of the room a uniformed officer, and at the entrance a uniformed officer. And we did not, local police officer or state police or county sheriff. We didn't have people walk through metal detectors. And one time we would occasionally get a possible threat. And at the one meeting, we didn't know how many people in the audience were real and how many were undercover. Inspector said, were there any constituents in that room? I don't know who. Because as soon as we'd find out, the senator would be alerted to it. And but he never backed down. He's still said, I'm not gonna run and hide. That just encourages more of it. We were always very aware of it, and certainly made sure that we took the proper steps. And you don't think of that. I've told this story how I was down at Rehoboth Beach many, many years ago, and I'm sitting there on a bench watching my kids play volleyball in the sand, and a fella comes on and sits next to me and said, "Can I sit down?" I'm like, "Sure, go right ahead." And I start talking. I realize it's Joe Biden. Now he was Senator Joe Biden at the time, and he had a home nearby, and he was walking around the boardwalk eating ice cream. So it gives you an idea that U.S. senators don't have protection. And
Right.
that's why they have to be so careful these days. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
that to encourage anybody to do anything, but I think some people think how much money is spent protecting these guys, and they have to do it on their own. And that's why
Right.
more and more that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And they just have to be very cautious and use common sense in these cases. And again, I didn't say that to encourage anything, but just this idea of how tough that job can be, being an elected official.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you even look at judges. You make a ruling one person doesn't like, and all of a sudden you're painted with a target. It's or you put one person in jail that has a support system out there that isn't afraid to use violence. It can get ugly for you pretty fast.
Yeah, and that's why when there's concerns about that sort of thing, these people aren't as accessible as they used to be. I don't know if I were working for our inspector these days, if he were still with us, if I would recommend town hall meetings anymore. We always said
Right.
happy people don't come to town hall meetings.
Right.
We would do some Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. There was nobody happy in that room.
Right.
Yeah, happy people are home having breakfast, or
Right,
golfing,
for sure.
but not showing up at town. So I don't even know nowadays to do something like that. They're just kind of a kettle waiting to go off, I suppose. But Jeff, as always, we appreciate you taking time to talk about this very interesting topic. I can't imagine the career you've had, and you continue to serve
Oh, thank you.
in your role as director of security for a local school district. You have stories. I can't imagine what they must be like. and
We'll have to have lunch sometime and talk about them. So.
That's right. And I won't record it. That's right. We'll have to.
All right. That sounds good.
We'll have to do that.
But hey,
Go ahead.
and thank you again for understanding about my having to back out last week. I appreciate it.
You have a job to do, and I said that night on the air when the guy's director of security, and I didn't say where you worked. I just said, but things come up, and you have to understand that for no reason to apologize at all. We'd love to have you back on again
appreciate
sometime. All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much. All right.
Thank you.
Agent Jeff James joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition. Let's take a break before news, which we'll get to on time at the top of the hour.
One call cleans it all with Madewell Services. Family owned and operated, Madewell Services has the cleaning covered with their dependable and detailed residential and commercial cleaning, so you can come home and unwind. And Madewell Services does it all with their weekly, bi-weekly, or deep cleanings, as well as move-in and move-out services, plus junk removal. For a free estimate or to schedule a cleaning, just call or text Madewell Services at 724-912-1805.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
In 1986, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville was started with a promise to provide clients with truthful, friendly, and courteous service. It worked. With an expanded client base, the Firestone Insurance Agency's customers are now able to choose from over 20 well-known insurance companies. So whether it be auto, home, business, or life, Firestone has you covered, and the promise to provide truthful, friendly, and courteous service is still in place. As an independent insurance agency, the Firestone Insurance Agency works for you. They do the shopping for you to save you time and a bunch of needless phone calls. Because let's face it, no one loves to shop for insurance. Call the office at 724-455-3900 or visit firestoneinsurance.net. Can't make it to Normalville? Let the Firestone Insurance Agency bring service right to your kitchen table. The Firestone Insurance Agency, 724-455-3900 or firestoneinsurance.net. Doing what is right for the customer. Finding the most affordable rates while making sure there are no coverage gaps so you are fully protected from the unforeseen.
WMBS.
Man, you're smooth over there, Nick. Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers singing together. Islands in the Stream.
It's a good one.
How many streams actually have islands?
It's a good point.
A
Not
stream's
many.
pretty small.
It is.
Or what's the difference between like a stream, a creek, and a crick, as we say here in southwestern PA?
The unanswerable questions of life, Doug.
Has there ever been a turtle in Turtle Creek?
It's a good point, but now the news.
CBS. Oh, Fox.
Tributes for a beloved entertainer. Fox News, I'm Tom Rigotti. The nation remembering Dolly Parton. The legendary country singer, actress, and philanthropist has died.
Dolly opened doors not just for me, but for her entire family to reach the potential we didn't even know was possible. Dolly also opened doors for generations of singers, songwriters, musicians, and dreamers from every walk of life and across every continent. By her example, we believed that anything was possible. She never saw a door she couldn't open, and the doors she opened made and changed history.
Nephew Brian Seaver spoke on behalf of the family. Parton was 80 years old. Fox's Tanja J. Powers has more.
Dolly Parton was a singer, songwriter, actor, businesswoman, and philanthropist. Born the fourth of 12 children in 1946 in Locust Ridge, Tennessee, Parton was a pioneer for women in country music. Her biggest hits include 9 to 5, Jolene, Here You Come Again, and I Will Always Love You. She was inducted into the Country Music and Rock and Roll Halls of Fame, won multiple Grammys, was awarded the National Medal of Arts, and received the Recording Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award. Her Imagination Library has distributed more than 280 million free books to kids worldwide, and her theme park, Dollywood, has entertained millions since it opened in 1986. Tanja J. Powers, Fox News.
A reaction pouring in from the country music world. Singer-songwriter John Rich explains Parton's immense popularity.
It's hard to speak your mind and still be nice, and Dolly Parton always did that with a smile and some kind of grit that you're just inherently born with, I think. I don't think that you can't teach a class on Dolly Parton isms. You're either born with it or you're not.
John Rich on Fox's Will Kane Show. America's listening to Fox News.
The Roman Catholic Churches of Southern Fayette invite you to join us for the celebration of the Eucharist at one of our weekend Masses. The updated Mass schedule is as follows. Saturday Vigil Masses will be celebrated at 4 o'clock St. Therese, 4 o'clock St. Hubert in Point Marion, and 4:30 St. Mary. Sunday morning Masses will be celebrated at 7:30 St. Joseph, 8:30 St. Mary, 9 o'clock St. Cyril and Methodius in Fairchance, 10 o'clock St. Joseph, 10:30 St. John, and 11 o'clock St. Therese. A Sunday evening Mass will be celebrated at 5 p.m. at St. John. A rebroadcast of the Mass from St. Therese will air on WMBS on Sunday after the news at noon. Please check out our website, facesouth.org, for more information.
Canada will announce retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. after trade talks broke down. President Trump told Canadian leaders to fall in line or face consequences far worse than existing tariffs, including new 50% tariffs on Canadian vehicles, auto parts, and steel. Prime Minister Mark Carney accuses Washington of trying to subordinate Canada. The Trump administration says the Kennedy Center may need to be raised if the president's name isn't allowed on the building.
The Kennedy Center's board argues without prominent recognition of President Trump, donors will not contribute to the Performing Arts Center, and it will fall into a financial and structural death spiral. The argument was made in a court filing as part of a case that forced the removal of President Trump's name from the building's facade. The Trump administration warns without adequate funding, the Kennedy Center could deteriorate further, requiring the entire structure be taken down and replaced with an outdoor amphitheater. The Washington Post reports both ticket sales and fundraising drastically fell following the board's decision to add President Trump's name to the structure. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A man killed 8 of his relatives, including 4 children, as they gathered for Sunday dinner at a home in Billings, Montana. The victims represented 4 generations of the blended family, ranging from a great-grandmother in her 90s to a 7-year-old girl. Police say they responded to the home Sunday evening and heard gunshots just before the house was completely engulfed in flames. Detectives confirming today there have been 8 victims, including 4 children. 1 person found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The U.S. government issuing a travel alert for Americans planning to visit Mexicali in northern Mexico. The notice says that because of a threat, activities and travel were suspended. U.S. did not provide details about the threat or whom it was directed towards. The city has been calm through today. I'm Tom Rigotti. This is Fox News.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
It's the summer sales event going on now at Thurby's Riverside Ford. That means all new Ford Escape, Explorer, Bronco Sport, Bronco, and F-150s come with 0% Ford credit financing for 36 months, plus a $1,000 Ford factory rebate. And as a bonus, all vehicles come with a 2-year, 25,000-mile Ford complimentary maintenance plan.
Check out these low payments on a new 2026 Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend or a new 2026 Ford Maverick all-wheel drive pickup. Just $399 per month for 36 months with $999 down. Ford Motor Credit financing required. 3-year lease is based on 10,500 miles per year. No security deposit required.
See Joey, Jimmy, Sammy, or Ashley at Thurby Riverside Ford, your one Ford Elite Presidential Award-winning dealer, located 1 mile past the casino at Nemacolin.
Offer extended to August 31st.
It's time to drive a Ford again.
If it's time for a change of decor at your home, let the trained staff at Chesler's Fine Furniture work their magic. The August store-wide furniture clearance is going on now. There are no gimmicks involved, just great value and old-fashioned service. Chesler's offers the finest in name-brand furnishings by famous makers, plus accent pieces and wall decor that will underline your unique sense of style. You'll find items such as genuine Lazy Boy rocker recliners for $429, 5-piece dining room sets starting at $599. For the family room, there are reclining sofas from $799 and up, with matching reclining love seats and recliners. For the formal living room, there are sofas starting at $499. Don't forget the bedding department, all mattress sets reduced. Every piece of bedroom furniture, every piece of living room furniture and dining room furniture, and every piece of furniture at Chesler's will be discounted.
Bright Stripe, Bay County's premier asphalt seal coating professionals, locally owned by Matt and Lexi George. Bright Stripe specializes in residential and commercial asphalt seal coating, also excelling in line striping and layouts, thermoplastic, and infrared asphalt repair. Bright Stripe has succeeded due to their commitment to quality work for 30 years. Bright Stripe, 724-437-6090, or visit bright-stripe.com. BRITE-stripe.com.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
I want to thank retired Secret Service agent Jeff James for joining us in the first half of hour number 3 of the afternoon. No, hour number 4.
Lord.
This is hour number 4, for heaven's sakes.
Track, Doug. It's a long day for you.
It is a long day for it. No, that was hour number 3. This is hour number 4.
This is the 4th hour.
Yeah, this is the 4th hour.
It's the final countdown.
What are we talking about? The final countdown.
Yeah, it's a song we could play.
We just came out of the break. Nick, what did you forget to do? Dolly Parton music.
Dolly Parton. Oh, that was just after commercial.
Oh, that after
we
commercials.
have to go with our standard Stevie Ray Vaughan at the top
show's
of the
been
hour.
going on so long time, I've lost track.
Right. I mean, we have to, with all due respect to Dolly, we have to go with Stevie Ray Vaughan, top of the hour.
Exactly. She probably wrote a song for him as well.
I'm
She
sure
wrote
she
songs
did.
for everybody else.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah, it just it is kind of, that's one of those people that's always been around. They've been around forever. She's 80 years old. She's been performing on stages since she was single digits old.
Oh, a baby.
And on radio.
Right.
Maybe that's where I'll get my start. I'm on radio. You think I can rise to her level?
You can write a few hit songs. Everyone has at least one in them, they say. I doubt that, but
No.
And she seemed just like a nice, genuinely good person. You had the pleasure of meeting her.
Yeah,
but
we had a very brief conversation. I showed her pictures of my daughter. That's one of those things.
Of course.
Would you
have
like
to
to see
do it.
pictures of my daughter? Who's going to say no?
Well, I would, but I'm a heartless man.
Yeah, that's the time that we were picking strawberries on a farm once years ago, and we came through the town of Elizabeth it was Memorial Day. The place was packed, police everywhere. Like, what is going on? And we asked somebody and realized that Al Gore was in town. So we're standing there. Speaking of when celebrities and famous people can't turn things down, so we're standing in Elizabeth, PA, along a rope line, and we asked somebody, Al Gore's in town? Well, where is he? He was vice president at the time, running for president. And they said, oh, he's in that fire hall. All of a sudden, the door's open. Here comes Al Gore. I hold up my daughter, who I think was 3, and I said, Mr. Vice President, you want to hold a baby? Well, she wasn't a baby. And so he couldn't say no to that. So he's holding the baby. And I had forgotten we had just spent about 2 hours picking strawberries at the strawberry farm.
Mm-hmm.
And she was covered in mud. So when he handed her back to me, he was covered in mud.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. The staff are standing there, were like, with that look on their face, like, what are we going to do?
Right.
Why did this idiot just give us a muddy kid?
Well, he's from Tennessee. He's used to mud, I guess. I don't know what that means.
I didn't mention I worked for Arlen Specter at the time.
he would
I
have
didn't
loved
think
that.
that would
He's a
go
good
over well. They
Democrat.
would think it was like I was targeting him with a muddy
Right.
kid. But we do have some great pictures of my daughter being held by Al Gore.
That's great. And his dad was a legend in the Senate, right? Al Gore's dad?
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing, when he ran for president that year, of course, his seat was up, and it was run by a Republican, Fred
Right.
Thompson, of all people.
That's right.
The actor.
Who was on multiple TV channels every night.
Yeah, exactly. Law and Order, and you name it, movie he was in.
C-SPAN.
I remember I asked Specter one time, because he only served one term. I said,
Right.
why is he getting out? He said he hates it.
That's honest.
He hates it. He worked for Howard Baker back during the Watergate days.
Right.
When he gave him the line, what did the president know and when did he know it?
That's right.
Thompson was the one that came up with that famous line during the Watergate hearings. We're about to talk to somebody who's thinking, I hope I don't have to talk about Watergate or politics.
He
But
just
joining
hung
us,
up, yeah.
He just hung up on
He
us.
did,
That's
yeah.
it. Joining us right now from AccuWeather, meteorologist and long-term expert. Now, that's a cool title, man. I don't know what it means, but we'll ask what that is. Chad Merrill. Chad, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. How are you?
Absolutely. Doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Well, I have some sense of what a meteorologist is. I remember when I was in grade school, I wanted to be a meteorologist. My mother said, Doug, you can't add, don't be a meteorologist. She was very honest with me when I was in about 6th grade. But so I know what that is, but what is a long-term expert? I'm told that's also your title.
Correct. I'm on the long-range team here at AccuWeather, and so I'm one of the folks that helps produce the seasonal outlooks that we produce here at AccuWeather. And one of the areas that I'm responsible for is the drought forecast during every other season except for the winter. Wintertime, I'm responsible with another meteorologist here for the snowfall forecast. So I work with Paul Pastewak and his team on the long-range forecast.
So tell us the truth. Do you really do this based on research and your expertise, or do you just read the Old Farmer's Almanac? Now, which is it? Or do they depend on you? I don't know. Maybe it's that one. I'm not sure.
They depend on us a little bit. Yeah. Folks at the Old Farmer's Almanac actually do look to us for some of the long-term teleconnection pattern signals to help produce the Old Farmer's Almanac. But basically what we do is we look at long-term teleconnection patterns in the past that compare to what's expected ahead to produce our seasonal outlook. So a lot of what we do is analog years based on past weather. Plus, we put a spin with climate change in the mix to come up with our forecast for the seasons.
You know what? It's an incredibly unscientific way of doing things, but usually you can tell how much rain we've had in August because most lawns are brown at this time and burned out. I've never seen such lush August lawns as we have this year, based on the fact that I understand from, at least in southwestern Pennsylvania at the National Weather Service, we were a third of an inch of rain from tying the total amount of rain ever for August. So it's not unprecedented, but pretty rare to have this much rain in what's usually one of the drier months, correct?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, looking at the summer as a whole so far, June through August, if meteorological summer ended today, it would be the 13th wettest on record for the Pittsburgh area, which includes Uniontown, with a total of 15.27 inches of rain. So, yeah, it's been a very, very wet summer so far, and we have a little bit more to add on to that before the month is over, so we'll probably climb up into the top 10.
You just said something there that caught my attention. You didn't just say summer, you said meteorological summer. What's the difference?
Meteorological summer is considered the 3 warmest months of the year, and for ease of record taking and record measurements, they just divide it into 3 months and don't use the astronomical periods. So June, July, August, and then September, October, November would be meteorological fall, and then December, January, February would be meteorological winter. Just for the ease of records, because the astronomical seasons vary 1 or 2 days per year. It could be, September 21st, the first day of fall, September 22nd. So just for the ease of keeping records, they just make it the entire month.
I see. That would make sense. I can certainly understand that. The so amount of rain, but also this year, the amount of tornadoes. Now, a tornado, an EF0, I've never understood why there's an EF0. It's like, isn't there, Nick, you follow high school football, there's a week 0?
There's a week 0 now.
Week 0, not week 1.
Because there are games being, played, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
so
dumb.
an EF0 is anything, 84 degrees, or 84 miles per hour up to whatever the next total is. But this year, we're now up to 30 tornadoes. This is not exactly Tornado Alley.
No.
But still, that's right up there with the record, considering the average is usually, about a third of that or half of that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, right now, for the entire state of Pennsylvania, is in 4th place for the most number of tornadoes so far this year, with 44 confirmed tornadoes, believe it or not. So that's across the entire state. And as you mentioned, it's been obviously a busy year in southwestern Pennsylvania. And it looks like the busiest year on record was 1998 with 62 confirmed tornadoes. But yes, it's been a very active year for tornadoes in the region. And one of the reasons is, first of all, we had a little bit of a lull in the spring where there weren't many tornadoes at all, much severe weather. And that was partly attributed to some cooler than average sea surface temperatures right off the mid-Atlantic coast. But then starting June 8th through the 13th, those waters warmed pretty quickly, and we've seen the waters stay consistently warm. What that has allowed is all the tornadoes and all the severe weather across the Midwest was now able to make it farther east, because when the waters were cool along the coast, it does stabilize the atmosphere quite a bit. But now the waters have been very warm, and we have this very strong El Nino that's underway, and the jet stream, the subtropical jet stream, has been stronger than normal because of the very warm waters in the Pacific. So when we have these cold fronts come through, there's a lot of dynamical energy and twisting and turning. That's one of the reasons why we've had so many tornadoes so far this summer.
Yeah. But we're far from Tornado Alley. I remember one of those classic TV teases said, is Pittsburgh the next Tornado Alley? Like, oh, please. When you consider they probably get 40 tornadoes, per week in some of those Tornado Alley states.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're far from Tornado Alley, but still pretty unusual. And the fact that there have been no injuries, from what I can tell, of these tornadoes here in southwestern PA. And obviously some damage, but certainly nothing like what you see out west. when these tornadoes stay on the ground for 30 miles or some crazy thing. I've only seen one tornado. I was in Topeka, Kansas, and saw a tornado once. And I was in a hotel of all crazy things. And I looked out and I saw this thing, and I called the front desk. I said, "Do you have a safe room?" And they said, "We'll let you know. That thing's about 30 miles away," and because it's so flat, but I could actually see it. And I said, if we went down the basement every time there was a tornado 30 miles away, we'd never leave the basement in that part of the country. So kind of crazy how these things come about, and frankly how they're reported at the time. We're talking with Chad Merrill, meteorologist and long-term expert with with AccuWeather. When investigations are done, and we've talked to your counterparts at the National Weather Service, they send investigators out that make a determination about whether a tornado happens. Does AccuWeather also do investigations like that on your own, or is that something you leave up to the service?
No, that's just up to the National Weather Service to do. Yeah.
Sort of fascinating. They'll go out if they see a twisted metal shed. There's a pretty good idea it just didn't twist on its own. Or I guess a lot of first responders will get back to them and say, hey, you might want to come take a look at this bark that's been ripped off this tree. It looks kind of strange.
Yeah, so once the tornado warning is issued and storm damage reports come back from emergency managers in that area, and they get several other reports, then they will investigate that area. They'll send a storm survey team out, and they look for the debris field, the kind of the counterclockwise circulation, the debris down in different directions. Now, I can confirm a microburst versus a tornado. They just look for different signatures, and then they get all the stats while they're out there in terms of the length of the tornado, the width, injuries, etc., and then they file their report. I will say this, though. There is one other part of the EF scale that's used occasionally with the Weather Service. So you have the EF0 through EF5 rating, but sometimes they are EFU, undetermined. There was an instance a couple of years ago when I worked, and I can confirm this, when I worked at a TV station in southern West Virginia, and the Weather Service in Charleston received pictures back. They also get pictures confirmation of funnel clouds and tornadoes. So they got several pictures from several folks in, I think it was Pocahontas County, West Virginia, where they issued a tornado warning. And it turns out that there were no storm reports from that particular location, but there were a bunch of photos. So because they weren't able to, it was a very rural area as well. It was very difficult to get to in the mountains. You had to walk quite a ways from the road. Some Weather Service offices, when this happens, they'll actually make that specific tornado an undetermined, so an EFU, undetermined rating on the scale. It still counts as a confirmed tornado, but undetermined in terms of its wind gusts because it's in such a rural location or there was very, very minimal damage done, and it's just not worth their time to go out there and confirm the wind speed and all the stats for it. So sometimes you do get EFUs.
When you said there was something besides EF0 through EF5, I thought you were going to suddenly say EF-1 or something. I didn't know where this was going. But EFU, Nick, keep that in mind, okay? Because Nick likes to say the word tornadic
EFU
activity.
as well, right?
That's one of your favorite.
Tornadic activity is wonderful.
I
love that one.
We hear about those activities.
Got to get tickets to that.
As we talk to
a tornado event.
Exactly. Chad Merrill from AccuWeather. Of course, being a Penn Stater, I always ask the folks from AccuWeather, are you a Penn Stater too? Are you? Do they let anybody work for AccuWeather who's not a Penn Stater? I don't know.
We have several schools represented here from the Midwest to the East Coast. Actually, no. I went to school not too far from Uniontown, actually. Penn West, California is where I went.
Great. Right down the road. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, a long time ago. Well, 1998 to 2002, if you want to consider that a long time ago. But
oh, you're young.
That is a long time ago. I was out of college at that point, I think, for 20 years. But besides that, it's I guess that is a long time ago. Well, that's great to have a local guy here joining us from AccuWeather. We've been talking a lot lately to folks from AccuWeather and your counterparts elsewhere about the weather this year. It just seems so. Do we say this every year? Oh, this is the worst year ever. I've never seen so much rain. But there has been more rain than usual this year. But as you said, we might move up to the 10th most rain in the summer, in the meteorological summer, which makes it not one of the worst, but top 10, I guess. Certainly compared to some of the drought seasons that we've had over the years. Far from that this year, I suppose. Correct?
Right, yeah. And one of the reasons we've had so many dry summers is La Nina, the opposite of El Nino, tends to bring a little bit less rainfall and hot temperatures, hot, dry weather during the summer. We've had more La Ninas than El Ninos, but El Nino got started quickly, and it coupled with the atmosphere. In other words, we're having El Nino atmospheric patterns through the most of the summer that continue now, and with a stronger subtropical jet stream, all these storms coming out from the Midwest and so forth. You don't need a tropical storm to necessarily come up Interstate 81 to bring Pittsburgh a lot of rain. Instead, we just had frequent storms that are complement of the strong subtropical jet stream combining with occasional cold fronts coming through, and those cold fronts get more leverage with the strong subtropical jet stream, bringing in a lot of jet stream energy and a lot of moisture. So the frequency of the rain has definitely been high. Instead of just one storm dumping all this rain at once and then it doesn't rain for another 10 or 15 days, like you can get with some La Nina patterns where it's hot and dry all summer, then boom, you get a tropical storm, you get 3 inches of rain, and then it's dry for another 10 days. El Nino patterns tend to bring more frequent rounds of rain that add up over time.
One more question for you, Chad, if you have the time. And this is unrelated to these other topics. We always see about weather coming west to east. You watch those patterns come across the United States, which is why I was puzzled when the forest fires in Canada, why that smoke seemed to be coming due south. Mm-hmm. Now, why suddenly did it's not a weather pattern, but it follows, I would think it follows the weather patterns. Why did that smoke seem to come maybe not due south, but certainly southeast, as opposed to just going west to east? How did that smoke manage to get down here?
Oh, yeah, the upper level flow where the smoke gets integrated in, 25, 30,000 feet or so, because those fires were burning pretty large fires that all that smoke went way up into the atmosphere. The upper level flow was coming out of the northwest, so it was coming directly from the source there in Ontario, similar to June of 2023 when there were fires in Quebec in June, and the upper level flow pattern out of the northwest behind a cold front brought a lot of that smoke into the New York City area. So it's just about the strength of the winds and the magnitude of the winds as well as the wind direction, especially from about 15,000 to 25,000 feet as it pushes the smoke in. And then that smoke can get concentrated and suspended and stick around for a while. And usually it just takes a rainstorm or a cold front or something to mix the smoke out. But, yeah, when you look at the jet stream pattern, that's when we direct that smoke into our area from Ontario. And you have to have some pretty prolific fires burning to get the air quality as bad as it was this summer. And indeed that happened in Ontario. The forest there is extremely dense, so when one fire starts, you can get a lot of billowing smoke that just goes into the atmosphere. If the flow would have been the other way, all that smoke would have gone further north towards the Hudson Bay and towards Greenland rather than into our area. But since we had a consistent northwest flow during that time, the trajectory was right from the source.
Yeah, it was amazing. I remember being on the West End Bridge, which, if folks don't know, that's the first bridge just west of the point. And I was on that bridge, and I could barely see the skyline in Pittsburgh, which is at that point only about a half a mile away. That's how thick that smoke was. Frankly, it reminded me when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s when the mills were at full till, and you would smell it all the time. And my dad would say, "You smell that, sonny boy? That's the smell of jobs." That's what my dad would tell me. Of course, he worked at the mill. It was a job for him.
A bit of a movie.
Yeah, it's
exactly. Yeah, and what really sparked those fires is there was a prolific heat wave in Ontario, so all the vegetation dried pretty quickly, and then some thunderstorms came through, and there was a lightning triggered fires, and then the wind picked up, and that's just created a monster big fire scenario there in Ontario. More recently, though, we've had some smoke. It's been a little bit thinner in the atmosphere, come from the Spokane fires earlier in August. All that smoke traveled from parts of Washington state into our area. Those fires weren't as prolific or as densely packed, I guess you could say, as the fires in Ontario, but there was a little bit of haze in the sky. And the fire season's still going on out in the Northwest, so it wouldn't be out of question for us to get maybe a hazy sky or two in early September from one of those fires, but definitely not to the magnitude of what we saw I guess it was in July after the fires in Ontario got started.
Sometimes you can't get an idea of how big these fires are. There was a fire several years ago. It was 300,000 acres. And I said, we're not far from Ohio Powell State Park here, which is 20,000 acres. So that literally would have been 15 Ohio Powells being burnt to the ground. It gave you some idea of the size of one fire back then. And when literally towns were destroyed, and not just through hyperbole, but they literally were destroyed. These fires, 300,000 acre fire, hard to grasp your hands around. It really is. Chad, thanks so much. Chad Merrill from AccuWeather. We appreciate you taking time to join us. Have a good evening.
Absolutely, anytime. Yep, have a great evening.
You too. We're about 10 seconds away from the Fox News update at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we're going to talk to our good friend Larry Magid. Back to school and internet safety. Sounds like a good topic. Stick around for that.
Fox News, I'm Tom Graham. The death of country music star Dolly Parton now confirmed to have resulted after a brief battle with cancer. She rose to fame from humble beginnings.
Born on January 19th, 1946 in Pittman Center, Tennessee, Parton was the fourth of 12 kids. She grew up in a one-room cabin out in the Smoky Mountains, and she made her first appearance on the Grand Ole Opry at only 13 years old.
Fox's Alexis McAdams, her career spanning decades. Polls closing in South Carolina as President Trump's clout over the GOP is once again tested. He's backing Republican Senator Darlene Graham in her runoff primary against GOP Congressman Ralph Norman.
I've been working really hard going around the entire state.
Graham took over the Senate seat for her late brother Lindsey. She's now seeking a full term. America is listening to Fox News.
It's Jessica Karingala and Kevin Bain here at Ford of Uniontown. Summer may be winding down, but the savings are still going strong at Ford of Uniontown. Drive home in a new F-150 with up to $9,000 off MSRP. And don't forget about great offers on Super Duties, like up to $7,000 in savings or more if you're a current Ford owner.
But Jess, didn't I hear that September will be about more than just saving money?
That's right. Starting September 1st, Ford of Uniontown is proud to kick off our Load Up for the Common Good food drive. We're asking our customers, friends, in the community to load up on non-perishable food items and help us give back to local families in need.
And remember, we don't just sell vehicles. Our award-winning service department is ready to keep your Ford running with convenient online service appointments and free pickup and delivery.
That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee's. 724-425-5980 or FordofUniontown.com.
Price excludes tax, title, license, and documentation fees, financing through Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify.
If you are looking for a trusted local law firm with a strong commitment to their clients, look no further than Zebley Law Offices. Attorney Zebley has been practicing law in Fayette County for more than 4 decades. Although specializing in bankruptcy, Zebley also handles real estate matters, civil suits, collections, wills, powers of attorney, and more. If you need legal help, go with a name you recognize and trust. Call Zebley Law Offices today at 724-439-9200.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
Looking for a family-friendly Labor Day weekend adventure? Don't miss Friendship Hill's Whiskey Rebellion Festival, Saturday and Sunday, September 5th and 6th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Friendship Hill National Historic Site on Route 166 in New Geneva. Watch Albert Gallatin and George Washington bring history alive as they discuss the 1791 whiskey excise tax. Hear and interact with author Brady Kreitzer on Saturday and historian Tom Karlowicz on Sunday. Enjoy the barbecue buggy and Mama Ruka's old-fashioned sodas and floats. Join a 10:30 a.m. period Sunday worship service with Reverend George Relic. Twice a day, the Park Service's 6-pounder cannon plays the part of the Watermelon Army's Federal Artillery, and it's prepared and fired, too. Enjoy a relaxed festival atmosphere without huge crowds. The Whiskey Rebellion Festival, September 5th and 6th from 11 to 4. Admission is free. $1 per car donation for parking is appreciated. For more information, visit the Friendship Hill Association Facebook page. See you there.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
WMBS.
It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for.
You know, earlier, our first guest on the show tonight was Dr. Robert Thompson from the Syracuse University Blair Center for Television and Popular Culture. And he really said she might have been, how did he describe it? The most well-known,
universally loved
person,
yeah.
you know, and
name recognition.
And who else is like that? And he compared her to Oprah, who's in so many different things, Paul McCartney.
Right.
There really are. You could name 5 people of that level. And then we were joking about the Babylon Bee put out this, and really is a great gag. It says, a beautiful picture of Dolly, and below it says, apocalypse draws near as last remaining universally beloved human being passes away.
That's funny.
Now, that's a joke, but it's darn close. Universally loved. Do you ever hear anybody say something bad about Dolly Parton?
Never.
My mom liked Dolly Parton, and my mom didn't like women who wore anything but a turtleneck, I think. But
she didn't like scantily clad women.
Yeah, scantily clad women, exactly. Maybe mom was just jealous of Dolly. I don't know. But yeah, very sad to hear that. And there was always that hope now that Dolly's company bought the local amusement parks, maybe Dolly would show up here because she used to show up at Dollywood and just walk around once in a while. So yeah, it's kind of sad. Not kind of, it's sad news that a legend like Dolly has passed away. It's one of those people you think has been around forever and will be around forever. Sad news about that. Now, somehow we have to transition from that to back to school and community safety with Larry Maggot.
Well, that's why they pay you the big bucks, Doug.
I guess so. There's no exact transition.
Time
but
for a segue. Yeah.
Joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line on the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show for Tuesday, CEO of ConnectSafely.org, Larry Maggot. Larry, you've met a lot of people in your life. You've been a lot of places. Did you ever meet Dolly Parton?
I never met Dolly Parton, but I'll tell you, back to your previous comment you made, she's probably the only person who's died in the last umpteen years who got glowing memorial tributes on both MSNBC and Fox News. I literally turned to both today, and they, you know, in fact, I think it was the 5 happened to be on when I turned into Fox. And as they were segueing into a commercial, they played one of her songs. I think the one of "I Love You," the one about I can't remember the title now. The one
"I Will Always Love You." And
I will always love you. And I was thinking, hey, finally, these two networks that never agree with each other have something they can agree on.
Yeah, they really. You don't. Have you ever heard anybody say anything bad about Dolly? I think because yes, she was outlandish, unless she had a lot of work done. But she always talked about it. My favorite line was, "It takes a lot of money to look this cheap," which is what she would say to an audience during a concert.
I know, and I mean, even I was very curious to see what President Trump would have to say, and he said some very nice things, which he doesn't always do when people pass away, as you know. I mean, certainly he has been. So this is. I was pleased. I was pleased to hear that. Good for him.
Yeah, it was. It just the fact that. The ultimate rags to riches. I mean, rags to riches in the dictionary. This is an old line. Should have her picture next to it. Right. I thought she grew up in a 2-room home. She grew up in a 1-room cabin with 12 people, 12 siblings or 11 siblings.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I was shocked and saddened by the news.
Yeah.
So,
You write
as we were
songs.
all.
You write songs for country stars, and you also write songs for Miley Cyrus and Tina Turner
Beyonce.
and Beyonce. Yeah.
And get inaugurated in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, even though. And the other thing that I was really surprised about, I was watching a tribute to her, I don't know, on one of the shows, state networks, and they were saying she actually turned down a number of honors. Like she originally turned down the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame offer because she didn't feel she had deserved it. I mean, talk about humility.
That is
I never turned down. If anybody wants to, if you want to make me an honorary for the I don't know, Hockey Hall of Fame, I'll take it, even though I don't even play hockey.
Right. Yeah. She.
Oh yeah.
She was great at. And when you heard from people who would say they knew Dolly personally, they said there was no difference between her on the talk show with Johnny Carson and her in person. That was all her.
Yeah, I believe it.
She was absolutely genuine and just made fun of herself and laughed, and the goofy stories about her husband, who nobody ever saw, and at one point he had a picture taken with her with a bag over his head with 2 holes cut out for his eyes because he was never supposed to be seen. And some people even today said she may have died from a broken heart. I mean, she literally, her health went down after he died. And it's sort of amazing person. Legend's always overused. It applies to very few people. It applies to her.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Well, let's talk about back to school, internet safety. And when you talk about school and internet, there's been too many stories in this region lately of teachers reaching out to students.
Literally.
And it's, you wouldn't think you'd have to tell kids, stay away from your teachers, or tell teachers, stay away from the students.
It is not funny, but it's kind of interesting. As you know, I've been writing and thinking and Activate, working on internet safety for many years. And I remember a long time ago, people say, keep your kids off the internet because they're likely to meet a stranger who can harm them. And I say, you know what? If you really think that, maybe you should keep your kids away from teachers, away from clergy, away from doctors, away from police officers, away from relatives, for that matter, away from parents. I mean, the fact is that trusted adults, unfortunately, tragically, are more likely to abuse a child than a stranger. But the stranger situations are the ones that get all the attention. I used to be on the board of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and we at the center were very clear about that you just can't trust someone simply because they have an honorable profession, whatever it happens to be. Having said that, of course, the vast majority of teachers and clergy and police officers and doctors, and especially parents, treat children in wonderful ways. So I don't want to stereotype any group.
Yeah, I a few friends who are priests, and they don't like to go out in public wearing their collar anymore.
It's tragic that a profession that's dominated by people who really care about others would be tainted in that way. It's just totally tragic.
We were taking.
And by the way, rabbis have gotten the rap too. I don't want to.
Boy Scout leaders.
You name it.
I remember one time we were taking our daughters. They were all in the school choirs in grade school, and we were going somewhere to sing. And one priest was going to join us there, and I said, "Hey, do you mind? One of the teachers, the chaperones, can't make it. Can you take some of the kids with it in your car?" And he put his head down. And he said, "I can't do that without another adult in the car." And he was ashamed to admit it,
I remember taking my son and a bunch of his friends on a Boy Scout camping trip. This was many years ago. And it would have been convenient for me to share a tent with these 2 boys, my son and his friend. Well, I was not allowed to do so. And I fully understand why I wasn't allowed to do so. I mean, I didn't fight that at all. But that was a rule, and it's a good rule.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably good for me.
Absolutely. Heck, our school, I was a coach of a girls' basketball team, and the school had a rule that even here we're sitting on a bench with everybody standing there looking at us, we still had to have a woman on the bench because I was a male coach.
Although same-sex doesn't necessarily imply either that they're safe. Anyway, let's talk about something else.
Yes, exactly.
Internet safety
and back to school. It's not as if, when they say, the kids should be reading over the summer. They should. No, they're on the internet year round. It's just not something you have to get kids to do over the summer to keep up with things. So the idea that they may have been off the computer during the summer or off their phone after Loft app, is not true.
The only difference now, they have an excuse. They can tell you they're doing their homework. They may not be doing their homework, but they can tell you they are. Right. And of course, that's a very good reason to be online. But look, schools. I don't know if there's any change that you need to think about other, the fact that you're back to school, other than, just being aware that school is where physical bullying happens, and there's always a nexus. Not always. There is often a nexus between cyberbullying and physical bullying. So if your child is online now, there's probably a higher chance that they're going to have some kind of a issue with maybe a classmate that maybe starts in school and goes online, or maybe starts online and goes to school. So that's certainly something to be aware of. I'm more interested in the opportunities that technology and education bring, especially AI, which, of course, some people think is horrible and dangerous and, an invitation to cheating, which it can be, but I think it's an opportunity for educators to teach about the responsible and useful uses of AI. And, that's a huge conversation where I live in, as you know, in Silicon Valley, and we have parents that want to ban AI from the schools. I don't agree with them, but I understand their points. And I think that people should have a good, honest conversation about how AI can be used productively and how it should not be used.
Yeah, I mean, sometime, I don't know, there's a few months back, some politician, I don't even know who it was, what party, came out and said, the dangers of AI are so powerful, we just need to eliminate it. I'm like, well, good luck with that. Yeah, good luck eliminating AI.
While you're at it, 40,000 Americans die every year in car accidents, so maybe we should eliminate cars, and people die of all sorts of things. Drinking too much water can kill you.
Right. One of those weird stats that more people died in car crashes during the Vietnam War than on the battlefield. So, yeah, do we eliminate, as you said, all cars? It's... but at the same time, if you were to come out and say, the kids are safe in school, people would go crazy. But stats showed every year that the safest part of a child's day is in school.
Right.
But when you have a
and
school
the safest part of an airline trip, the most dangerous part of an airline trip is the drive to the airport. Not the flight. I mean, there's a lot of things. And I think we talked about that. I remember growing up when they used to have insurance counters at the airport, so you could, for
buy a buck.
You could buy
for a dollar, you could buy insurance and name somebody.
Yeah. Anyway, but in general, I mean, I think what I like about this time is I think it's a good opportunity for parents to have a conversation with their children. I mean, any opportunity is one you should take. But I think the back to school, sit down and talk about, what they're doing online, how, one of the issues, of course, with school is you are now busier than you were during the summer. You should be spending more time on studying and less time on whatever leisure the activities you may have engaged in prior to going back. And so it's a time to, insist on bedtimes, on time limits on the devices, more so than probably in the summer, because the kids need to get rest and go to school and do their homework and whatever else they're supposed to be doing. I think that the use of technology is a piece of that, but it shouldn't be everything.
I'm always shocked once a week when I get that email. I don't know how it comes about. I don't know who started. It'll tell me how much time I've been online on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, dear
heavens, you don't want to know.
Put the phone down.
That's like when the report I get every morning on how poorly I slept. And if I bother to track my calories, I don't want to know about that either.
Yeah, there's certain things you don't want to know about. And I always wonder sometimes, okay, if I have a website open on my phone and I'm not looking at it, does it count that? I don't know.
Well, no, what's interesting about that, though, is the fact that we used to talk about going online, and back at the beginning it was, dialing into your AOL or whatever, and now, of course, we're all on broadband or cellular, so we literally are connected 24/7. Just looking at your smartwatch count is going online. I mean, does talking to Alexa count? Well, I'm not supposed. I call it the A word. I hope I didn't trigger people.
Yeah, you trigger phones devices.
Everywhere.
That's
but just talking to your Echo device or your smart speaker account and going online. I mean, I guess it kind of does. But it's funny. My Echo device is talking at me right now because it heard me say the A word. But yeah, no, I mean, we are no longer online. We are always online in one way or another.
Well, I remember back when I had my first BlackBerry, which at the time was a miracle, and it would only give you update your emails every 45 minutes or something. Otherwise, it costs more money to do it. And when you think about that, or you could update it yourself. I better check to see if I got any emails, especially if I was on the road. it's weird to think about those days that you would not get everything instantaneously. Yeah, you had to wait 45 minutes to get an update on your
And don't get me started about notifications. I mean, I turn almost all of them off. The only notifications that I actually get are text messages, phone calls, of course, by phone rings, and that's about it. Oh, and my medical stuff. I mean, if my doctor sends me a message, I want to know about that. But other than that, I don't need to hear about every time, some sports team scores something.
I was at Mass. This is a few months ago, and the priest was delivering the homily, and all of a sudden, everybody's phone went off because severe weather was coming. Like, oh my.
Well, no, it's funny. It's not funny at all. But we have Amber Alerts in California if a child is missing, and I got one at I think 6:45 a couple of mornings ago. First, my phone went off, then my wife's phone went off, and I had an iPad. It went off, and of course, it's a very important message, but at 6:30 in the morning, I was afraid I wasn't much help.
At least it wasn't in Iowa, perhaps. Or
yeah, no, it was a local one.
Okay, good. That's
have to figure out whether this kid ever got found. But and elder alerts, we get those too.
Here at the raid, our National Weather Service beeper goes off, and we have to determine, okay, is that our area or is it well outside our where our?
We also get earthquake alerts, which unfortunately are only a couple of seconds before the quake hits, or if you're lucky, you get but we haven't figured out how to predict those very well yet.
Not very well on that one. So, I like how you turn that around to say, okay, this is they're online all the time, but this is a good time. You're back at school. Let's start talking again about internet safety, and you might as well get back to that. How dangerous is it? I have friends whose kids play these games online. They're playing with total strangers. These video games. I know so little about them. I don't even know what to call them. Is that a possibility for them to reach out to them outside that gaming world?
In fact, it's interesting. I was talking to an expert on violence and extremism, and we were talking about violent video games, and she said it's not the violent video games. I mean, video games can be inappropriate for certain ages, of course, but it's not the games she worries about. It's the comments, and for a lot of reasons. One, of course, what you alluded to, the possibility of a stranger luring them into a relationship which could go in very dangerous ways, but also extremism, recruiting people into cults, recruiting and eating disorders, and all of that things that can happen. They can become recruiting grounds for bad stuff, and beyond. In addition to the sexual exploitation, extremism has happened to be what this person was an expert at, and she said she is very concerned about comments in video games kind of luring people into kind of, over a period of time into increasing extremist kind of behaviors.
I mean, people who listen to this radio station know I tend to be rather opinionated about things on all kind of angles. Can you believe it, Nick? Yeah. And I'm always shocked when I hear parents say, I'm so sick of my kids playing video games. I'm like, okay, don't let them. I guess I don't understand, that maybe tell them not to do it anymore, Mom. I guess I come from, we have 4 daughters. People listen to this show know I talk about them. But they were never really into video games. I mean, we had like what was that one that came out? You could pretend you were boxing. I couldn't even think of the name of it. We had that. And at one point, my then wife and I said, why did we buy this thing? They don't even use it. I don't understand that approach that I can't get my kids to stop playing video games. I'm like, really?
Well, it's like anything else. It's a matter of doing it in a moderation. I mean, video games can be actually really good. They can teach hand-eye coordination. They can teach partnership. Collaborating with teammates. They can teach friendly competition. Which of course is what we want to encourage. Is just like they're really in a way kind of like sports. I mean, but I wouldn't want my kid playing soccer 10 hours a day.
No.
As much as I love soccer, it's all a matter of putting the context. Now, one of the things I always tell parents is if your kid is playing a video game, you establish rules and guidelines and time limits in advance. You don't, in the middle of the game, say, Johnny, you need to disconnect right now. It's time for dinner, because Johnny is probably playing with other people, and it's not fair to his teammates or his opponents to suddenly yank him away. You wouldn't go show up at a soccer game mid-game and saying, Susie, you got to stop playing soccer now. It's time for your snack.
Time to eat.
You let her finish the game.
Maybe that is one time where you can be a helicopter parent, which also is one of my pet peeves. in life.
Yeah.
Parents.
But what I'm saying is, talk with them in advance. Say, look, you've got an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is you're allowing them, and have them hopefully manage their own time. And if the time is coming to an end, you remind them, hey, kids, it's time to wrap up. But pulling the plug arbitrarily, I don't know. Unless the kids really, deserves it. Unless they're really abusing things, I think it's better just to, set limits and enforce them.
I do remember playing Pong when I was a kid, when that came out, of all crazy things. It was the most simplistic thing in the world.
See, I remember getting on my bicycle when I was a kid without a helmet on and disappearing till dark is what I remember. And my parents had no way of knowing where I was.
My God,
or
and you
reaching
lived?
me.
Wow.
You survived, Larry?
You were never
I'm not
abducted?
advocating that. I wear bike helmets now, and I've insisted our kids did, and they still do, even though they're adults. But that was the way life was back when I was growing up.
Yeah. Wait, friends lived near the river, and the parents said, "Stay away from the river and come home when the street lights come on." That was the entire parenting.
Yeah, don't drown.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't drown.
Don't drown.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So things change. I also remember being a Boy Scout and going on camping trips, and we all got in the back of a truck with no seatbelts. We just stood in the back of a truck, and the truck bouncing along the highway, and as far as I know, the same number of kids departed, got out of the truck that got in, but you wonder sometimes.
I used to drive my brother's pickup to school with about 6 kids in the back. A 5-mile-per-hour collision, they'd have fallen into the highway.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's funny when you think about things. Although nowadays, if someone got hurt in a truck in Iowa, it would be reported here in Pittsburgh and Silicon Valley. You tend to hear these things a lot more as we talk with Larry Maggot about internet safety and the best times to do it is all the time. But it's a good time we get back to school. Might as well start chatting with the kids. You've got great websites. Tell the folks where they can get information, what type of information.
Well, the internet safety stuff you can get at connectsafely.org, and that's, you'll find a lot of content on just about every aspect of internet safety. You also find information about all of the services, or almost all the services your kids use. You'll find a lot of information today about AI, because we're staying on top of that. Both for adults and kids. We also have resources for seniors. We have the Senior's Guide to TikTok, the Senior's Guide to Uber, Senior's Guides to all the scams that are aimed at seniors. So we're trying to branch out, not just kids, but really service, all communities. We have a LGBTQ guide to cyberbullying, because that community has a much higher incidence of cyberbullying and other forms of abuse. So there's a lot of information there. And then if you just want to see what I'm writing, in the Mercury News, for example, you can go to larrysworld.com and drop me a line if you're on one of those sites.
And check out larrymaggot.com, another website, of course.
LarryMaggot.com is my email address. LarrysWorld.com.
Oh, I'm sorry. LarrysWorld.com.
Inspired by Wayne's World, but nothing like Wayne's World.
Nothing like Wayne's World?
Nothing at all. As far as I can tell.
Nick, try to get them on. That'd be a good
I'd love
interview.
to. Mike Myers and Dana Carvey.
Yeah, see if you can get them on.
We'll get them on.
We'll have Larry on
next week. Oh, that'd be great.
We'll compare websites. Hey, Larry, thanks so much. We, as
My
always,
pleasure.
enjoy
Always
our
talking to you.
conversations. I think this was kind of shocking today. I think we stayed on topic. Did we stay on
That's
topic?
hard to believe.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, you didn't
not
really.
perfect, but who's perfect, I guess.
Don't tell the FCC. They might kick us off the air.
Oh, yeah, they'll kick us off.
Violating our traditions.
I guess so.
We had a Dolly Parton conversation.
Yeah, we
but
did have a
had
Dolly
to.
Parton conversation.
We had to.
today.
I mean,
yeah, we
come
had
on,
to.
today.
No choice on that one. So,
Yeah.
hey, Larry.
I'm sure there's an internet angle to the Dolly Parton story. I haven't figured
I'm
it out
sure
yet,
there's
but
something out
I'm
there.
sure she was online.
Yeah, Elvis still alive. Oh, Dolly will still be. There'll be Dolly sightings, no doubt.
Dolly will.
Oh, absolutely.
As well.
All right, guys. Well, pleasure talking to you.
All righty.
Take care.
Thanks, Larry.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
Larry Maggot. Let's wrap it up, folks. Take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up our 4th hour on the show today. Stick around.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
WMBS.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you.
Well, I guess it's a good idea to wrap up tonight. We've been playing a lot of Dolly Parton's music, and this is no doubt one of her legendary songs. 9 to 5 is probably one of her most famous songs, but this and the Jolene one. Yeah, that's a funny story earlier that Jeff James told us, the Secret Service agent, former retired Secret Service agent, that somebody in a school, a teacher mentioned it, and a